AHL affiliate Milwaukee Admirals have Game 1 of the Central Division Final tonight against the Texas Stars starting at 7 p.m. You can hear the action right here this evening. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
1, 2, 3, 9. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
Yossi scores. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in to Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game. Caroline is off today. Willy Donick and Derek Mason here with you, and we're going to have some fun today. Yes, the schedule release came out. The Titans had a grand slam with their reveal on social media. I don't know what the count is right now. When I woke up this morning, they were at 4.6 million viewers already,
goodness.
And I'm sure that's gone up even since then. So we're going to have some fun with that a little bit later, but we're going to do it all on the show today. At 11:15, we're going to check in with Joe Rexroad, who is going to be on the road here very shortly. But he wrote a really good article about Will Levis. We've talked a lot about Will Levis, but it's mostly like, hey, this could be a problem over here, and is he a flawed guy over here? But Joe really got a good backstory, talked to some family members, really did a little history that I thought was very informative on the Athletic. So we're going to talk to him at 11:15. Then 11:30, Scott Corley, athletic director over at Belmont. We'll talk about his experiences with the transfer portal, a very big issue in college sports, and, of course, how it relates to Belmont and, how it affects them. So always a good chat with Scott Corley. We'll talk schedule at 12:30. Ask D-Mase at 12:30. We'll talk schedule at noon, I should say. The Suit will join us for that.
And you know what else I got for y'all today?
Oh, what do you got today, D-Mase?
I got more Dad Joke Friday.
Oh! I did not know about this.
Dad Joke Friday is up again.
Now we've got even more. Now we've taken the show to another level. You started last Friday with a good dad joke.
Yeah,
do you have a good lead-off dad joke here?
Give me a second.
Okay.
Give me
Just
a second.
go through your material.
Yeah, I'm going to go through my material.
Okay.
And
I'm also very down that the general managers on the Vezina Trophy selected 3 goalies not named UC Saros.
Bummer.
I to be honest, I was worried that was going to happen, and it did happen. Now, what we don't know is what the vote was. Did he finish 4th by like a single vote? Was it close, or was he 7th or 8th? That will make a difference for me, too, when we find this out. But he's not there. So the efforts by not just us as broadcasters and the team who tried to put numbers in front of the GMs and the voters saying, here are the numbers. Take a look past the wins. Take a look past just the basic stats that you see. And
get below the surface.
Get below the surface, and let's really see what's going on here. This guy has elevated this team. This team was in the race because of this guy, largely so, more so than any other goalie, to me. And the numbers really point. So I don't know if the GMs just flat out didn't look at the numbers, or they're just kind of in that old school, look, you didn't make the playoffs, so I'm not voting for you. We'll see. But we'll get more into that during the 1 o'clock hour, too. Scotty Nickel was on the show with Chase and Michelle last hour. I guess it was at 9:30. So we're going to play a couple clips from him. Milwaukee starts their second round of the playoffs against the Texas Stars, which is Austin, Texas. It's the Dallas Stars AHL club. So we're going to carry those games tonight on 102.5 The Game. So that's going to be pretty interesting. What are you saying, Nick? Nick's giving us hand signals.
Yeah.
He's
We
giving
are
it
carrying the first two games.
Games 1 and 2. Yeah. He gave me a 2-1. I was thinking, is it 21? Who's number 21? But that'll be starting tonight. So we'll give you a little insight, couple clips of what Scooter said, and of course a lot of big time prospects. Guys who are really going to shape the future of the Predators here. Their development is going to be critical, and so we'll see how they do in the series. So, D-Mase, are you ready? You're going to lead it off? Get this show humming.
Here we go. Dad joke of the morning starts now. Here it is. How would you find Will Smith in the snow? How would you find Will Smith hiding in the snow? How would you find
How would you find Will Smith in the snow?
I'm sure that you can't
hide in
slap
the
the snow away, right?
Okay, so Will Smith is the
That,
Fresh Prince.
Yeah. The actor, he played in a bunch of movies.
Men in Black.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think
all
of some
that
of his
stuff, yeah.
characters. Is something about Bel Air in the snow?
I don't know.
I don't.
You want me to give it to you?
How do you find Will Smith in the
hiding
snow?
in the snow.
Yeah.
You follow the Fresh Prince.
Oh!
Yeah. Yes, I am at Zany's. 2025, I will be there, okay? 2025, people, I'm headlining, okay? I'm going to keep them coming today.
So I was in the ballpark. I was thinking the right way. I just couldn't. You follow the Fresh Prince.
You can take that one, Willie. You can have that one.
I'm going to file these away.
You can have that one, okay?
Best of see, I can weed out the ones that aren't good, and I just take your good ones, and then I'll have a great set in front of the kids.
Yes. Oh,
the youngsters.
man. Well, that was great.
Fresh Prince.
But the schedule came out
The schedule is out.
last night, and it was a huge event. I'm pretty sure with every 32 teams, some better than others, because I think all three of us have watched, certain skits.
I saw the skits.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I was not like marking my watch saying, okay.
Me either.
So I didn't flip on a TV or anything, but I did see the social media stuff, which was great.
It was hilarious. It's great to see how, and some teams dug a little bit deeper than others. Some sort of kept it surface, trying to make it funny, but didn't put a lot into it. Some, did a lot with animation and everything else. Denver had a great one with obviously with Peyton Manning. They did the whole Office skit and whatnot. There was another one. I think who had another one, good one, other than the Titans. I think, was it? I'm trying to remember now because I was watching them.
I enjoyed
last
Buffalo's.
night. Buffalo had a good one, yes. The Bills had a good one. Let me see, because I had them all, and I was watching them, cracking up at certain things they were doing. But needless to say, I think out of the ones that I did watch, and I'm not saying it's just because I'm a homer. I'm not being a homer. There was some good ones. New England had a really good one. With at the end was not, was it Devin or
I didn't see any of them, honestly.
The
McCourties?
Yeah, McCourties. He was on it, and they had it sort of this living in a house together, and all these guys, and then the old guys that won Super Bowls, and then at the end, the doorbell rings and it's Tom Brady at the door. So it wasn't as funny as the Titan ones, but the Titans. I'm not going to be a homer. I'm not a homer in this situation, but if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. It is funny.
Oh yeah,
it's funny.
To me, it's probably the best social media thing they've ever done. They're
course.
not known for that, really. I mean, they've done some good stuff for sure. Don't get me wrong, but this broke through. I mean, this was on
Broadway,
the CBS
yeah.
morning show.
But it was
It was
simple.
It was simple.
Yeah.
And the theme has been done before.
Exactly.
If number of people have, I mean, you look
If
at,
we watch Jay
go
Leno.
back to, and David Letterman used to do this
Exactly.
people on the streets of New
Absolutely.
York. But, of course, Nashville and Broadway, you get some pretty good material down there. You get some good material. There's a famous one the Predators did where Roman Yossi and Shea Weber were interviewing fans about the Predators. and of course the people were completely oblivious that Roman Yossi and Shea Weber are the superstar players for the Predators. They're like, what do you think of that Yossi guy? Is he good? Roman Yossi, I love Roman Yossi. Of course, Roman Yossi's standing right there. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And of course, there's a humongous picture of Shea Weber and Roman Yossi on the side of the building. The guy's like looking up and kind of looking back and like, you're, so it was the people on Broadway. You never
know who you're
are
gonna
disappointed.
who
You're never
you're going to
disappointed with the
encounter.
material gets. So
Yes.
kudos to the Titans. They hit it out of the park. We're going to have some fun with that a little bit later. So when we come back, we're going to talk to Joe Rexrode. Now, we're going to see where Joe is. We're also going to see Joe's airline habits. How early does he get to the airport? How early does he get settled? Did he make time to get settled before he comes on with us? He told me this morning, he's like, I got a flight at 12:15. I was like, well, if you can't do it, it's okay, but, could you do 11:15? He's like, I think that'll work. So we're going to see if he's like going through security and like his phone in one hand and getting harassed by the security guards. Let's hope he's settled when we have him on here in a couple minutes.
I bet he's settled.
Okay, so you have to tune in and find out. And we're going to learn more about Will Levis. He did a great thing, a great piece on The Athletic, if you haven't read it. So we're going to give you some highlights of it. Stay tuned. Just getting started here on this Friday afternoon. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase here from the Game Studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Stay tuned.
All the big plays.
For the win! Yes! Vanderbilt wins it!
All the big stories.
Quarterback carousel. What the Titans decide to do at the quarterback position.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
10% chance of making the playoffs.
Checkered flag is in the
Team with
air.
incredible talent.
Every team in the league.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Friday to everyone out there listening. And, man, I need to tell you something about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife, Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They're there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. There's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Man, what are you waiting for? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willy Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
When Smashville wants to rock. 1029 The Buzz. We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We are back here. Oh, this is Joe Rexro's favorite song. And so I know Joe is on the line with us. This is good stuff. Willy Donick, Derek Mason here. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace, 1025 The Game. You can always watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code The Game. All right, Joe, we were trying to, gauge your airport habits, how early you get there. We didn't want to catch you, in a tough position going through the detectors and the security and everything like that. So are you settled? Are you good?
I am settled. Now, first of all, I'd like to say I want to withdraw all the nice things I just said to Nick, who just played Glorious Domination for me there. Yeah, so actually, Willie, my habits are actually usually not today. I did just get through, I just got in the D-gate, just got through security. Normally, that is not the case. I normally I'm a big, get there at least an hour and a half early and all that stuff. Almost never check bags, et cetera, et cetera. So today it's a little bit uncomfortable for me.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll be okay in an uncomfortable situation. But, Joe, I read your article on Will Levis, and it really dawned on me as I was reading. I was like, thank goodness this is happening, because we have talked so much on our station and in the entire town about this guy, and a lot of it is nitpicking and scrutinizing little things we've seen that have come up on the TV or on social media, and this is a lot more of a backstory, a history. So it helped me see Will Levis in a different way. So let's go from your perspective. When you sat down to do this, maybe what did you learn first and foremost that you didn't think you knew?
Well, first of all, I appreciate it, Willie. And, yeah, look, it's not like I went into this story thinking one thing and now I have a completely different concept of who he is. But, yeah, it's just one of those – I mean, obviously I like – especially with someone who's going to be potentially such an important part of the sports universe here. I love, the stories okay, talk to as many people as you can and just try to find out stuff and find out who the person is. The thing about Will Levis is I think that I understand why some people, Tennessee fans, for example, don't like him, because he is, on the field, he is vocal, he's brash. In the game 2 years ago, which ended up being a Tennessee, 45-42 win, I think, there was a lot. I mean, there's trash talk out there. He is a guy who, if he's good in the NFL, opposing teams are going to hate him. That's what he projects. So to me, I understand that part of it. The whole, especially the entitlement. I mean, Charles Robinson came on our show yesterday, guys, and he said that too. Again, this is from people in the league talking he's worried a little bit about that entitlement. And it's I just think that's such a massive, misread of him, And I think, look, some of it is obviously he comes from an affluent family that's been successful, but if you look at his path and you talk to anybody who actually knows him, that word doesn't belong anywhere in there, I mean, he is, if anything, and I do think, Matt Hasselbeck had this quote in the story, which I thought was interesting. He's he wants it so bad. Maybe that turned off some people. I've heard that before that, and I can see that. He's so intense, right? I mean, he's so type A and alpha, and I'm going to get a 4-point in everything, and, I mean, that's, the type of people. Those are the type of people who often achieve at a high level, but also they can be overwhelming at times. But then you have the fact that apparently everybody also likes him, and he's fun and funny. So I think the intangibles, people should not worry about the intangibles with Will Levis. That's my big takeaway. That, we'll see if everything comes together and he can actually be a great quarterback, because that's what the Titans hope he is, and I have no idea. But the intangibles, which I think have been a knock on him from some corners, I think that's just a total misread.
It's interesting how we sort of conjure up in our minds an image of somebody really without knowing them, and that we're guilty of that a lot probably in life, all of us. But for example, for me, Joe, I you see these pictures like you have one on the Athletic of him hoisting up the Governor's Cup trophy. You know, he's flexing. He's got the big tats.
Right.
He's got the eye black. You know, this guy looks like 100%, meathead football guy. And you're like, this guy's a quarterback?
Right,
you know?
right.
But then you look, he's got the academic background, which is completely the opposite of what the image is. So it's a really interesting contrast. Like, I didn't realize he graduated so quickly, worked to graduate in 3 years before he transferred to have 2 years to start. Like, that's interesting. Plus, then you go back layers to, his upbringing surrounded by some, like, Ivy League influences and things like that. And so it doesn't really match the image you get sometimes.
Exactly. No, you look at him and you got, like the tattoo on the bicep. You're like, oh my God. I mean, it's hilarious. Like I included this because I thought it was so funny when I read our Penn State writer, Audrey Snyder. She did an exit interview with him. And by the way, I actually considered quoting her in the article. She was like, oh, he was amazing. I just loved the guy. He was fantastic to deal with, and he was like always doing some like charity thing and never talked about it. And he was like great. But she had this exit interview and he resisted ripping the Penn State coaches, which is the smart move, but you often see that when you have interviews like that. But one of the comments was like, yeah, he'll be a great linebacker, That's the amazing thing too, is like when he went to Kentucky, the thought was great athlete, but can he actually play quarterback? There's that too. But look, I think that speaks to the work that he's put in to get to this point. Now, how much more can he go from here? I have no idea. But again, I think he's not going to be one of the guys Vrabel talks about when he's like, got too many 8-5 guys around here. Like, that's not going to be Will Levis.
We're talking with Joe Rexrode. Now, Joe, looking at and reading the piece and it's a great piece, by the way, and if you haven't read it, people, you need to go to the Athletic and read it. But in doing this, I know you didn't set out for it to sort of come off this way, but in reading it, because of what's been said about Will Levis, and it seemed like it's been unfair because nobody really got an opportunity to really know and understand this young man. But it almost at times, reading it, seemed like a damage control, like a PR damage control. Like, listen, all the stuff you've been saying about this guy, I interviewed him, and it's not that way. The people that I've interviewed about him and his upbringing and everything else, his missions and everything, he's not the guy that people are saying he is.
Yeah, and then I said this earlier on our show. It's like, look, I mean, it's not like, if you want to do a piece on someone, you're like, hey, I'm going to talk to their family members and teammates, coaches, whatever. Like, usually it's not going to be like, yeah, this guy really sucks, I mean, you're talking to people who you would expect to be in his corner. Like I said earlier, like, hey, I'm anybody out there who knows him well. I'm sure there are people who dislike him, who have had encounters with him, but don't like him. I'm sure he's not like a perfect human being, but yeah, I think the thing is, like, I don't know if it's damage control, but it's just like what Willy was saying. It's like we now communicate with each other in these social media platforms where, like, you do make snap judgments. You can make snap judgments on someone from a 30-second video. And I saw the banana peel thing. I was like, what is up with this dude?
Right.
Worry about. I was like, why don't you go out and take some reps on the field? What is this banana crap? And, basically it was like him having fun, and these kids, that's another thing. I think for us guys, I think there is a generational thing here too, in that, the kids now, like, they do take pictures of themselves all the time and post it. They take videos of themselves all the time and post it. And obviously that wasn't our experience. So I do think that maybe we also judge that generation a little bit differently. But yeah, look, I learned a lot, and the consistent theme was, the two consistent themes were one, just the dedication, but also just again, he goes to Kentucky, and it's like a few weeks, and they vote him a captain. I mean, that, I think, speaks more than any quote anyone could give.
We'll talk with Joe Rexrode, one half for Rex and Robbie from 6 to 10 here on these airways. And if you want to catch his article about Will Levis, go to the Athletic. Now, and also reading this article, Joe, the relationship that he had with Aaron, which is a 10-year-old young man that has what is it? Fragile X syndrome, which is a genetic disorder that gives him extreme anxiety around strangers. And that, just reading that part about him, makes me want to, makes me like the young man even more because of his consistency with the young man and trying to get to know him and understand him, and then them two, ultimately become good friends.
Yeah, so and that's an interesting part of this reporting, because I knew about that podcast and I thought it was really interesting. So I reached out to Quint. I had no clue about his son. I had no clue about any of that. But I was like, this is an interesting – there were a few other people I tried to get that I wasn't able to get on the phone, including like a kind of a finance professor from Penn State who like went to the combine to support him. But I got Quint on the phone and he just starts telling me the story, and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I had no idea. Like, they built this relationship, and then Will took the time to, to actually get this kid to feel comfortable. And now, like, he's his biggest fan. And I think it's just an understanding of, like, and he said it in the story, it's like, it's a responsibility, I think with community service and things like that, I think some people look at it different ways, but I think he looks at it the way his grandfather told him, which is like you have to do this. Like, this isn't like an option. Like, this is your responsibility to. But it's there's a lot in this that didn't make the story, like I said earlier, and including just a number of things he's done that have been kind of quietly done, that weren't put on Instagram and stuff like that. And I think that's also a really interesting aspect of this. And I think a lot of the things that come through in this, which is kind of why I built it around his grandfather, is like, I think his grandfather really, his parents obviously are foundational in his life too, but I think that extra mentor always in his ear was a big thing for him.
Joe, really enjoyed the article. Thanks for coming on for a few minutes to give us a little extra perspective. I hope a lot of people go to The Athletic and read this, especially Titans fans who, like us, might have had one image of Will Levis. This might change your outlook of him. And then, look, we all know this going in. We have no idea if he's going to be a great quarterback or not, but for him to get a fighting chance here, it's good to know everything as much as we can about his true character.
Well, thanks, guys. Really appreciate you having me.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Have a safe flight.
Safe flight, Joe.
All right, Joe Rexroad from The Athletic. Robbie and Rexroad, 6 to 9 every morning. Stay tuned. We're coming back. Scott Corley is going to join us, athletic director at Belmont. We're going to shift gears, talk a little bit about how the NIL, the transfer portal, all of the things that are just hitting college sports like a huge tidal wave, what effect they're having on Belmont and a lot of other schools. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase right here on 102.5 The Game.
The offseason is underway for the Predators. But don't worry. We'll keep you covered with all of the happenings in Smashville.
Wouldn't it be a great party if we could win a cup?
What does new GM Barry Trotz have in store?
We're going to make good decisions. We're going to develop our players.
We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Krebs Kubota wants to help you get your job done right with the parts you need and a service department that can handle maintenance and repairs from the largest excavator to the smallest two-cycle engine. For your farm, home, or commercial needs, Krebs Kubota will keep your Kubota running like a Kubota. Krebs Kubota, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment dealer, with convenient locations in Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Also online at KrebsKubota.com.
If you've been thinking about remodeling your home's kitchen or bath, contact the countertop experts at Smoky Mountain Tops. Willy Donick here, and we installed Smoky Mountain Top surfacing in our kitchen years ago. It's remained durable and super easy to clean up. Smoky Mountain Tops is proud to offer the new prestigious Vidara quartz for your kitchen or bath countertops. Vidara surfaces are ideal for use in almost any interior application. Check out the stunning new Vidara quartz shown at Smoky Mountain Top Studio. Contact the pros at Smoky Mountain Tops. Quality, service, and dedication. Visit SmokyMountainTops.com.
Did you know that more than 4,000 children in Nashville are experiencing homelessness right now? And across Middle Tennessee, that number grows to more than 9,000. Hi, I'm Buddy Teaster, the CEO at Souls for Souls, a global non-for-profit based right here in Nashville. And we're on a mission to provide these kids with a brand new pair of athletic shoes through our For Every Kid program. Because we know that something as simple as a pair of shoes can change a child's future. Students who receive these shoes tell us things like, I can't believe these shoes are mine. I finally have something new of my own and I don't feel left out. And my feet finally feel like they can breathe. We're joining forces with our friends here at 1025 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament to help provide new shoes to kids across Nashville. It's all happening June 7th at the Hermitage Golf Course. Come join us for an afternoon of fellowship and fun, all in support of a great cause. Go to thegamenashville.com/golf for more information and to register.
Cromwell Media, the proud owner of this radio station, is recognizing 3 of our talented teammates in May. At 1029 The Buzz, part-time host Roman Haviland notches 11 years, and Chris Atticus, the Buzz brand manager and midday host, celebrates 3 years. Nick Frazier, part-time producer on 1025, 1063 The Game, passes his first year with us. We thank each of them for helping us make a difference every day. And by the way, we're always looking for new talent. Ping us at together@cromwellmedia.com and let's talk.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years? The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robbie and Rexroad.
Yeah, you take that. You take that. Take 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say. And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase here on this Friday. Expected to be joined here in just a moment by Scott Corley, athletic director at Belmont. We are efforting, as they like to say that. I don't know when that started, but somewhere along the line, all these shows, when you can't find the guy on the phone or the person you're supposed to have on, you say we're efforting.
Yeah, I guess
so. We're
that's
efforting. Scott's a busy man. He might have gotten a huge phone call, like something big happened for the Bruins. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll get
but before we get him,
you got another dad joke?
I'm going to say this to you. Yeah, I got another dad joke.
Okay, bring it on.
Why are elevator jokes so good? Why are elevator jokes so good?
Can I guess, Derek? Can I please guess?
I mean, you can guess.
Something about a rise and a fall? I don't know.
You can guess.
I was just going to say.
I mean, you may get it right. I don't know.
Your joke may rise, it may fall. I don't know. Is your joke going to be something about going up and down, Derek?
You know what? Up, down, it doesn't matter because you know why they work so well? Why elevator jokes are so good? They work on so many levels. Yes, once again, I have struck. Told you, 2025 Zanies, I'm there. Headliner.
Okay, I'm going to rate that joke just one half step better than your opening joke. The opening joke was good.
Yeah,
I'm going to give that a good solid
I thought the opening
7. Joke. This one's 7.5.
Okay. I thought my opening was better.
The Fresh Prince.
Yes, the Fresh Prince. Come on. That's a good joke. But anyway.
Okay.
Gosh,
I think you're on a solid
man.
pace. I think you're on a solid pace.
You're hard to,
We could have some questions about D-Mase during the Ask D-Mase segment at 12:30. People can, maybe add some dad jokes or, critique some of your favorite D-Mase dad joke, which is becoming a thing on Friday.
Exactly. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing moving forward.
Are you worried you're going to run out after a certain amount of Fridays?
I never run out because I'm only going to give you like 2 or 3, maybe 3 a day. And that's
three,
good. So
3 per week.
Yeah,
okay.
3 per week, not a day. 3 per week. If I give you 3 a day, I'll run out. But 3 per week, I'm good.
Okay.
At least into next year, maybe. So, But, as we are trying to get Scott Corley on the phone, AD at Belmont, I think one of the questions, and hopefully we can get him here pretty, really quickly now. But as an AD, Willie, with the new landscape in the way college, athletics is going, it has to be a difficult job for ADs. It has to be.
Yep.
To kind of navigate all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's bring on. We found Scott. Scott, you bailed us out because Derek was have to go into a full monologue of dad jokes. He's only got so many. He sprays them out during the show,
boy.
And he's off to a good start. But there's only so many good ones out there in the well.
Well, I'm glad we could finally connect. And Derek, I heard you talking about how hard it is to be an AD navigating this stuff. Can you call my president and let him know that?
That's what you do. So, Scott, we, from time to time, as you know, like on shows like this, you see some stories from somewhere around the country. Something crazy happened, a guy transferring or a guy getting NIL. And a lot of times it's at a real high-profile school, and you're like, wow, this is really, the landscape's changing. The transfer portal, tons of players are changing. So as you navigate this from where you sit in Belmont, what are the challenges? What's the level of challenge for the Belmont athletic director with trying to get through all of this?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's not that much different, but in other ways it's significantly, different levels of challenge. So what I mean by that is, when you're at a mid-major level like us and you're recruiting some high-caliber student athletes, if they ultimately feel like a Power 5 experience is what they ultimately want to, get to, there's probably nothing in a lot of ways we can do to keep that student athlete from doing that. And whether that's with NIL or without NIL, some of that stuff was just naturally going to happen. I think obviously it's become a lot easier for them to make those decisions because they don't have to sit out that year. But for us, as we, you certainly want to we need to up our level and make sure our student athletes are having a great experience at Belmont. That's something we've always been very good at. But we need to continue to invest in those things to make sure, the nutrition, the sports performance, the travel, all those things are at a higher level. And, you certainly got to be aware and provide the opportunities for NIL and, what's going on in the college landscape. You can't be oblivious to that and not, take some steps to at least be able to provide your coaching staffs the opportunity to be competitive when it comes to talking to recruits and talking to people that are in the portal. So it's certainly, in a way it's changed things, but in a way, we just got to keep doing what we've been very good at, and that is giving student athletes a great experience at a high level and compete for championships. And, if you can do that, I feel in the long run, you're going to have a great culture where a lot of kids are going to want to be a part of. And if those kids decide they want to leave to a Power 5, then we go in the portal and we find kids that are in the portal that want what we can offer.
Do you think along those lines, Scott, because to me that's the right mindset, and I'm hoping at some point the trend for the kids starts to become a little bit more of, okay, let's stay where we're at. Let's right now it seems like, we got all of these new opportunities. Let's see if the grass is greener on the other side. Do you think it will settle back down a little bit in the next couple of years as kids find out sometimes the grass isn't always greener?
I do, Willie. I'm hopeful for that. You never know. There's so many adults and AAU coaches and other people that are in these 18 to 22-year-old kids' heads, but I think there's a couple things that make me feel like it will slow down. I think, number one, we're going to get rid of these COVID years. I think next year is the last year for these extra COVID years. And so a lot of kids have been taking advantage of that, where they may, we had an instance where we had 2 kids graduate in 4 years and they had a COVID year. And so they're going to get in the portal and decided to go transfer and get a graduate degree from somewhere else. And I think those things are going to slow down. 1/3 of the transfer portal is still grad transfers, and in a way, that's a different story, in my opinion. If someone gives you 4 years and they do want to transfer for their 5th grad year, I think that, is a little more palatable. And then I think you hit it on the head. I mean, I think there's still 600 men's basketball players that have not landed anywhere. And as those stories continue to come out, or those, scenarios where kids are giving up, a free education to try to get in the portal and don't land where they think they were expected to land, then I think it gives coaches and administrators a little more, when they say, the grass isn't always greener, you have examples and more data points where hopefully then the kids and the parents and the AAU coaches will realize, hey, maybe it's best if my son or daughter stays at X school and just builds their brand there. And one thing we try to tell a lot of kids, particularly on the men's basketball side, is the recruits, the NBA scouts know who you are if you're a good player. There's so much film now. There's so much ways that they can see you play. And if you can come to a Belmont and dominate in the Missouri Valley, every NBA team is going to know who you are. And I think, Ben Shepherd's a prime example of that.
We're talking with Scott Corley, Belmont's athletic director. Now, Scott, in listening to you, in during this segment, it's almost as if you're saying that, listen, we just want to get back to the grassroots of getting individuals to come to our university to play a particular sport. We're not going to have the NIL that some of those other schools have, but if we sell you on the college and the experience and the athletic experience, like we have done for many, many years before NIL, then eventually that will get you to come, because you will fall in love with the campus, with the academics, with the athletics, more so than the NIL.
Well, yeah, in a way, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think we still have a lot to offer, and I may be naive, Derek, where I still think 95% of most college kids are interested in what we can provide. And, you obviously are going to have some elite athletes that our coaches are talking to, and we certainly would love for them to be a part of our program. But you got to weigh it. If their first question out of their mind on a recruiting visit is how much money can I make in NIL, is that really the right fit for our culture? Now, we understand those conversations are going to happen at some point. And we've got to be able to answer those questions and make sure that the parents do understand that there are opportunities for their child to make NIL, and we do provide that at Belmont. And so, but you don't necessarily always want to lead with that, I guess is what I'm saying. And you want kids that want to buy in to the overall experience and the holistic approach that we take when it comes to being a student athlete at Belmont.
Now, Charlie Baker, who's the NCAA president, he will be speaking with the Missouri Valley Conference membership this upcoming Tuesday. What questions do you have for him, and what would you like to hear?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie's been, obviously, as a good new leader, he's doing these listening tours, and he's getting a lot of feedback from different conferences. I think for us in the Missouri Valley, we certainly want to make sure, he understands our situation, our economics, those types of things are a lot different than the Power Five that he's been listening to. Certainly want to share questions, concerns, maybe on the transfer portal and the inducements and the tampering and those types of things that we're all experiencing and frustrated with, and just obviously provide our perspective, which candidly is the perspective of the majority of the Division I athletic programs in this country. Is we are not making money like the handful of Power Fives are, and therefore, we need you to make sure you're taking that into consideration with all the things that are going on in Congress, et cetera. So, I think it's going to be he's going to listen to us. We're going to certainly listen to some of his messaging and really kind of, like I said, for him, he's just doing a good job listening and getting feedback from all different levels of the membership.
So, Scott, before we let you go, how has the relationship with or the experience in the Missouri Valley been for Belmont as a whole so far?
Yeah, I think it's been a positive, Willie. Really have enjoyed this first year. We're learning a lot. Obviously, the travel is different, and, that's an adjustment for us in understanding that and how we, need to invest in those types of things. I feel we're very competitive. I feel like what is nice is this conference is really operate at a higher level of investment, particularly on the basketball side, which aligns with where we want to continue to invest. And so I'm excited. I mean, it's been fun going to different cities, different towns. Hopefully we can build some really good rivalries that I think that can be out there with the Drakes of the world. And it's just, I've enjoyed it. They've welcomed us. The conference really has been very bullish on Belmont. And so that certainly is an added benefit.
Good stuff. Hey, Scott, thanks a lot for joining us and lending some perspective here. We talk about some of these things. They pop up all the time with some wacky stories here. And so everybody's going through it. And thanks again for sharing.
Well, I appreciate the time, and sorry I was a little late there.
Oh, that's okay. Good luck to the Bruins and all the spring sports here as they come down the stretch.
Thanks so much, Willie.
All
Take
right,
care.
Scott Corley, athletic director at Belmont. When we come back, we'll talk about a couple of things that he pointed out there because there is a trickle-down, right? It's not just the Power Fives that are going through all of these things that we read mostly about. It's everybody going through their experience of the changing landscape in college sports. Stay tuned. Don't forget, we'll talk schedule. We'll have some fun at noon. We're going to go through the Titans schedule and then ask D-Mase at 12:30. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 The Game.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase and Michelle. And every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And, of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Men, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, our urologists and providers have been helping guys with erectile dysfunction and other sexual health issues for years. And unlike some, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we take a comprehensive approach to your sexual health. Our sole focus is to treat ED and related conditions. ED can be affected by a bunch of things, from hormones, prostate issues, medical conditions, and even simply aging. The fact is, most guys experience it at some point in life. If you're suffering with ED, it's extremely important to see a provider that understands how your medical conditions, hormone levels, and other factors can impact your ability to have sex. That's why you should come to the Tennessee Men's Clinic, where we have treatments that are effective in nearly 90% of cases. I can't tell you how many guys we've seen that thought their situation was hopeless, only to be wildly surprised. So give us a call today. We'll do some blood work with a T-check and a medical consult to give you the best shot at success. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Do you ever feel like gambling is causing financial strain or hurting your relationships? The Gambling Clinic has been helping people who want to change their gambling habits for over 2 decades. With physical clinics and remote online appointments, we're here to help you make informed decisions about your gambling so it doesn't lead to a bigger problem. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com so we can work together to help you win your life back. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We're here at the Game Studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Weigh in. If you got some thoughts, you want D-Mase, myself to answer. Willy Donick, Derek Mason here with you. Just go to our phone or text line, 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Some really good food for thought from Scott Corley, the athletic director at Belmont. He talked about a lot of different things, but one of the things that really has intrigued me is as we move forward here and this system settles in and you get the success stories, but you also get the other side of it, which is becoming a little bit more apparent, that not everybody is a winner and loser with these NIL rights that the players have, the freedom to transfer. You do have some tricky stories like what Deion Sanders is doing at Colorado. The fact that everybody mentions it, hey, look, for every kid that goes into the transfer portal and has a great outcome, there are a lot of kids that never come out of the transfer portal. They'd never get another opportunity. So I was encouraged to hear him say he does think this will settle down a little bit. Once people see all the good and the bad, they educate themselves a little bit more. In another couple of years, it might be, quote, a little more normal.
Yeah, you hope it is, because it's like when it all first happened, it was like a free fall. Everybody was just it's like Black Friday. Everybody's waiting at the door, and the minute they open, they just rush it and just overpower everything, and it's just chaos and madness and everything else. And then eventually it sort of settles down or whatnot, and that's how you sort of picture, the transfer portal, especially once they introduced NIL into the picture. All these kids started to, rush into the portal to try to either get another situation somewhere else or try to get, more NIL money somewhere else, and maybe there was promised this, maybe they were promised that. I just would love to see, the other side, the story of the kids that are still in the portal, because I think what needs to be explained to these kids, because Scott was right. When you have a bunch of people in your ear and you're 17, 18, 19 years old, it could become just too, it's just a lot of stress to try to please everybody and try to, instead of the person giving you some sound advice. And now there may be some situations, I'm sure, that people gave that individual sound advice and they went into the portal and was able to find the university that they love and they end up going there, or they end up just staying where they were. But I would love to see that other side, the other story of those kids going into the portal and forfeiting their scholarship at the school they were at because someone may have, whispered in their ear like, hey, listen, you can get more over here or you can play over there. You and I were talking off air, Willie, as far as freshmen, like how many of us freshmen when we were in college after the first year or during that first year wanted to transfer?
I feel like however long you want to go back
exactly,
to,
because I wanted
more
to
of our era, the era before ours. I think as long as there have been freshmen that have grown up their whole lives, they've been a superstar, they've had high accolades to earn a scholarship, you think that you are a really good player in whatever sport, and then you get there your freshman year and it's not easy. It's a natural thing to say, well, did I go to the right place? It's not working out for me. Like, you're just not used to not having success. So it's a natural feeling. So then, like, as you and I were talking, so we have this, right? We have experience, the people around us. It's not unusual at all for freshmen who aren't having a great freshman year to say, should I transfer? Like, at least considering it. But before, there were way more barriers. Hey, do you really want to sit out a whole year?
Exactly.
Do you really want to go? But now you have this easy path of, hey, maybe there's a little NIL, or maybe I don't have to sit out. You got people wanting to move up, right? They're doing really well, and they want to move up a level. Or they're not doing well, they want to move down a level. Or they would just want to go across to somewhere else that there's a better opportunity to play. But you put all that together, it gets very complicated.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'll tell you the story. Me, my freshman year, I can remember it was, after the Michigan game, because of some things that were said and promised during my recruiting visit. I'll go to state and we play Michigan and I'm not playing and all this other stuff. So after the game, at the time, my girlfriend at the time, her and I got in the car and we went to Chicago. Didn't have a cell phone, didn't have nothing. And I didn't show up for meetings that morning. I'm like, I'm done. I'm transferring. I'm going somewhere else. And they were looking for me, calling my mom and dad. Yo, is Derek? Where is he? All this other stuff. Finally, my mom gets in contact with me, and she was like, well, why aren't you at school? What's going on here? And I told her what was going on, and she was like, you better get your bleep back to college. You better get back to East Lansing.
A little reality check.
Exactly. You need to get back there and work through whatever's going on. You're not you're staying. You're going to fight this out. And then subsequently, I ended up going back, and it was the best decision.
There you go.
Yeah.
And now, if this were today's environment, you might have had some people from your circles going, ooh, Derek, you're not happy there? Ooh, let me call some people. There's some coach over here. Like, it's now such a routine thing.
Exactly.
And back then, the routine was a little bit more what you're talking about. It's like, hold on. Let's think about this for a minute before you really take it to a level where you want to consider transfer. Now it seems to be a much quicker, more flippant decision, and there's this, I could make more money, or I could be playing quickly. But we're seeing the more this goes on that there's also some sad stories where you think the grass is greener, but it's really not.
No, it's not. It's not. But I can understand, these kids, when they come out of high school, a lot of them, they're promised almost the world in a sense, and they're the man or the woman on their team, and they the big person in the school, and then all of a sudden they go to college, and like anything, you're a small fish in a big pond now. Before, you were a big fish in a small pond, and I don't think some of these individuals, whether men or women, you see it more so on the men's football and basketball side than anything else, that they're capable, that they want to handle that type of, hey, I'm not the big man anymore. I don't think, kids can handle that at times, not being the big man on the block, not being, everybody, not being the guy that everybody's looking at and praising and everything. Now you've fallen back to the end of the line, and you got to work your way up. And a lot of these kids, and I'm going to say it frankly, they don't want to work their way up. They don't. They want it given to them right then and there, and they believe, I start working once they give it to me. No, start working before they give it to you.
At the end of the day, somewhere you're going to beat you have to beat somebody out.
You got to beat somebody out. Absolutely.
All right, when we come back, we will move forward with the Titans schedule. We had some fun with that last night, and we'll go through it. D-Mase and I will tell us what tell everybody what we think about it, and we'll move from there. Then remember, it's 12:30. Ask D-Mase, as we do every Friday. We got a lot coming here on the show. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 The Game.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their homestand at First Horizon Park against Gwinnett.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. tuning into the baseball game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times? It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Now, your Game Center update.
This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Nick Keyser. The NFL's 2023 regular season slate has been announced, and your Tennessee Titans will have 2 games on prime time this year. Week 8 on Prime Video at Pittsburgh, and then Week 13 at Miami on Monday Night Football. And the New Jersey Devils were eliminated from the playoffs last night by the Carolina Hurricanes. The 2 squads went to overtime, and then at 7:09, the Hurricanes clinched the series on this game-winning goal, as heard on the Hurricanes radio network.
Back for Drury, back to Gostisbehere at the left point. Now Code Kaniemi, top of the right circle. His shot, they score! Yes, Voss ends it! Carolina going to the conference finals! The Canes win it 3-2 in overtime!
And the Preds AHL squad Milwaukee Admirals have Game 1 of the Central Division Final tonight against the Texas Stars, starting at 7 p.m. You can hear the action right here. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
A gun performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase, hour number 2. Gonna have a little fun with the Titans schedule, and why not really pick up the fun and bring the suit in?
Oh,
the
yeah.
Suit. Chase McCabe.
Suit. It's like old
Joining
times.
the crew, just like old times. I mean, it's like a glove. You just slide the glove on.
Yeah.
And everything's cool. It's just very comfortable. Very comfortable.
It is.
So, Chase, I like you like to monitor the show. How are we doing so far without Caroline in it? Are we doing okay?
So you're doing fine. I enjoyed the last segment, the discussion in the last segment, because I hope you don't take offense to this.
No, go ahead.
But my immediate reaction was, if you were a college student today and you told that story about leaving East Lansing, your mom saying get back there, like, I feel like you might have you might have just entered the portal because it would have been that easy.
Yeah, there is a possibility, a high possibility, considering how much emphasis is being put, not necessarily by the universities, but by outside forces, how much emphasis is being put on NIL.
Yeah.
And if you can get,
and like, I know what kind of worker you are,
$20,000-$30,000, from an NIL deal.
Sure.
6 figures, whatever.
It sounds like a ton of money. Like $10,000 sounds huge
for a college
to an 18, 19-year-old kid.
Exactly.
Huge. It's really nothing. In the big picture, it's nothing.
Then you got to pay taxes.
But it sounds like a lot when you're that age, and it's hard to get a kid to really hone in on that. So the trendiness of it, right? I think that's part of it. It wasn't trendy when you were a freshman.
Exactly.
If it were trendy, it might have swayed you a little bit more.
Very seldom did you see people leave a university on their own, willingly leave a university to try to go to another university. It never really did happen because of all of the hoops you had to jump through, which in a sense was good, but some of it did have to change.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it did have to change, but I think it's changed so much now that it makes it too easy for these young men and women to get into the portal. And once they're in the portal, it's like they're forgotten about. If you're not the top of the top, You lose all your scholarship money. You lose your scholarship. Whatever, financial aid you got or whatnot at that school, you lose it all. And it's like you got to reapply again, and you may not get the same amount. So these kids need to be truly educated on NIL and transferring. And honestly, it should be a class they have to take as a senior going into college. Like these are the things that are going to happen if you do enter the portal, or, these are the things that you need to know before you enter the portal, if indeed you go to one university and want to transfer.
All right, Chase, as you know, on Friday, Derek pulls out the dad jokes.
I got a few.
He's got some good ones. All right, now we've got Chris on the line. Is he still on there, Nick? All right, so let's see if Chris can hang with Derek on the dad jokes here. Chase, you be the barometer here. You and I will be the barometer on what we think is this good. Now, Chris, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right, so how has Derek done so far on the Dad Joke Fridays the last couple of weeks? Doing okay?
Yeah, he's great. For one, I'm a huge Derek Mason fan anyway. Got three of his jerseys on my wall, and I love all of his dad jokes.
Okay, so you're just if it's Derek telling the joke, it's a good joke.
Has he signed any of those jerseys?
No, sir. I sure wish you had. But
we need to take care of that.
Yeah, we'll
okay.
We'll
see what we can do about
that. So
okay,
send it here.
We'll figure this out.
We'll figure it out.
All right. So, Chris, you have a dad joke to share with us this week?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, what do you got?
All right. I don't think you guys have heard this one. You might have, but here goes. After an unsuccessful harvest, why did the farmer decide to try a career in music?
Why?
Unsuccessful harvest, so he wants to... Why?
Because he had a ton of sick beats.
Boo.
It's an epic dad joke. Yes, epic. See, y'all don't understand. You should understand dad jokes, Willie.
Yes.
Chase don't really understand dad jokes, okay?
I understand.
Well, yeah, because...
I got a lot of friends that are dads.
Absolutely.
And I make stupid jokes all the time.
But dad jokes are not really meant to be like hilarious to everybody, but they're hilarious to you.
Right. And if it gets the look from the kids, like, Dad.
Yeah.
Then you know it's a good dad joke.
You did your job. You did your
Because then
job.
they'll walk away and go, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Pretty clever. All right, Chris, thanks a lot for calling. We'll see what we can do about your jerseys here.
Yeah. We get him. We get him.
Now, one thing that did have us absolutely erupting in laughter.
Real quick, I have a dad joke.
You got a dad joke.
I had to look it up real quick.
Chase has jokes.
For D-Mase. Why did the ketchup blush?
Why did the ketchup blush? Did it have something to do with mustard?
No, it saw the salad dressing.
No, God, please, no.
That's a good dad joke.
Thank you.
It's good. It's a good dad joke.
There you go. You got it.
See, there we go.
It's a delayed
reaction. I'm using that one.
That's a good dad joke. Yes. It's a good dad joke.
All right.
Okay.
All right, now,
to the schedule.
To the schedule. Now, first, are we going to play this, Nick? Is this properly edited and things like that? Or should we just go line by line? But kudos.
We played it this morning.
You played it this
morning.
It's
good.
Okay.
It's FCC compliant.
Most of the people by now, I would think, have probably had this come across their phone, their desk,
Twitter
whatever.
Or something.
This is really well done. The schedule reveal by the Titans. And Chase, as you know, you've patrolled the streets of Broadway, 2nd Avenue. Many times there's some wacky characters down there. You can get some good material down there.
I've been known to be on the streets of Nashville for a Nashville night or two.
Have you ever been, polled for one of these, in different circles? Like, this guy looks like he'd be fun to have on our video.
I feel like Ricky and I did get asked to do something one time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was a little fuzzy.
Yeah, but that's kind of the idea, right? So the Titans did this. The old David Letterman, Jay Leno used to do this all the time. So they asked a lot of the
streets,
fans,
like a man on the streets,
people on the streets, asked about
Letterman was
the Titans'
probably
opponents.
the best at it.
Yeah, so they got some really funny answers.
What the is that?
Being shown the logo of the opponent.
That was the Saints.
Yeah.
Oh. Lightning McQueen.
No. Chargers.
Oh, that's just the football logo.
Browns.
The Boston Bobcats. No idea.
Bengals.
Not really familiar with our logos, are we?
Not the Cowboys. Colts.
Baltimore Orioles.
Ravens.
This one is the Red Stallions.
Falcons.
Close.
49 to 69ers. 49 to Cowboys.
Steelers.
It's a Pirates from the islands of the Caribbean.
Bucks.
Chester Cheeto.
Jags.
Tigers. North Carolina Tigers.
Carolina Panthers.
Texas. That's the Cowboys. Texas. Got that.
Colts again.
Nope. No, you didn't.
Atlanta.
That's
Florida.
Florida Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Oh, Texans.
Texans.
Eagles. Pittsburgh.
Seahawks.
Who's that? Bulls? Who? Patriots? That's the Patriots logo.
Texans.
That it actually does not exist.
Jags again.
That is Nashville, Tennessee.
Tennessee Titans.
Titans.
Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans. Woo!
Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans.
Okay, so I do have a question on that. Do we think they actually knew the Titans logo, or they were just prompted to say Titans?
I'm not sure.
I think
These people are famous now.
I think some of them. I can't. Well, if you're on Broadway, I can't say you're from Nashville because a lot of times you're not from Nashville.
I'm going to say it's at least 50-50.
Yeah, it was
right?
50-50. I think it was 50-50 with the logo too.
So I will give
with the Titans.
I will give now the only two that I have seen that actually did this are the Colts and the Falcons, and I will give them a ton of credit. So the Colts have changed on their Twitter. It says not the Cowboys at Colts.
Good.
And then the Falcons, the Falcons definitely get the nod because it says Red Stallions and then underneath just says RAR.
I feel like the Buccaneers should consider changing their name to the Pirates from the Islands of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I think so too.
And if you haven't seen the video,
please go see it.
The audio only takes you so far. It's another level when you see
the actual video.
It's really funny. Well done.
But looking at this schedule, and I know we all do this, and when it came out, I'm sure a bunch of Titan fans looked at the schedule and was like, "Oh my goodness, look, win, loss, win." So they basically summed up the Titans' schedule by looking at it, and some people probably have them, having a winning record and going to the playoffs. Some people probably have them struggling. Some might have them as a mid-level team. But if you look at, if you do look at their schedule, and you sort of think of what the AFC has become because of the quarterbacks, just based on the quarterbacks, I think they came away from it, on a better end.
Sure.
Than not. If you're just talking
this is a winnable schedule.
Yeah, if you're just talking quarterbacks, you look and you say, well, they don't have to play a lot of the quarterbacks that are considered top-tier quarterbacks. They do have some on their schedule, but not the gauntlet that we see in regards to quarterbacks in the AFC. But, to me, an NFL schedule is going to be tough no matter what.
All right, so on that,
some are going to be tougher than others.
So when we come back, we'll go through it week by week, and we'll give you our thoughts on
the suit's
in
here,
looks.
so you want to go to good on time. Okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah,
That's
good.
good.
I'm trying. More with Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase, along with the suit here on 102.5 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Are you going to pay $20.2 million for someone who's struggling this much to stay healthy?
And your source for Nashville sports.
The players got to play better, and they're the ones actually out on the court, and they got to execute.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Imagine her delight when she unwraps a luxurious spa day from a moment's peace. The newly remodeled day spa and salon in Cool Springs. Time is running short, but whether you spend a little or go lavish, you can take comfort that your gift will be treasured, your love on display, and a smile on her face. Give affordable luxury from a moment's peace for mums, dads, and grads in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakersbridge Avenue. Call 224-0770 or click online anytime at amomentspeace.com.
Along with being Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, Parman Tractor is your one-stop shop for professionals in the tree care and tree removal business. More bark brush chippers and Rayco stump grinders are industry-leading machines made for more to keep pace with you. And Parman's parts and service team will keep your machines running. Durability, efficiency, and trust. That's what you'll get with Moorbark and Rayco. And with Parman. Swing by Parman or visit ParmanTractor.com to learn more about Moorbark and Rayco. Parman Tractor's employee-owned team promises totally outrageous customer service.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
Buffalo Bill's Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's East Entrance. 5 museums in one and the greatest firearms museum anywhere. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bill's Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
Hi, this is Buddy Teaster from Souls for Souls. I hope you can join us on June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course for the 2nd annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. We've partnered with 1025 The Game to provide shoes to students experiencing homelessness right here in Nashville. Go to thegamenashville.com/golf for more information and to register.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ah, yes. Bringing back memories when Nick was a rookie. Tried to teach him about the Duke of Earl. He's made steady progress since then.
That was amazing.
Rookie growing pain.
That was a rookie growing pain.
He plays like a coronation music. We're like, what the hell is this?
King Charles would have been proud.
That was
but
good.
you know what? He didn't want to transfer.
No, he didn't.
Nope, he stuck it out. He did not hit the portal.
Look, there were rumors that he was going to enter the portal and transfer to Stillman and Company, and he did not.
Yes.
But it turns out Caroline did. She transferred to this show.
So it can work. Both ways can work.
It worked out.
The grass isn't always greener. All right. So let's go through the Titans schedule. Okay, so number one, did you guys feel like they got more primetime games than you thought they were going to get?
Yeah, I thought they were only going to get one, and they ended up with 2. None are at home, but they get a Thursday night against the 49ers, 69ers.
49ers.
That was funny. The Steelers. And that was one I had kind of circled thinking, all right, that has potential to be a primetime. So that's a Thursday night game, and then they get Miami on Monday night. Now, I had said, I've been saying this for months, I thought at Jacksonville would be a Monday night game. So I got the state right, but the team wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think I said 2 because I considered the London
that is a prime time. That's
game.
Prime time.
And Willie and Caroline was like, no, play at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No,
I said they're the only game on.
That's a nationally televised game.
Right.
It's on
they're the only game on.
Prime time is probably not quite the right lingo, but nationally televised.
Nationally
for
televised
sure.
game. So
but is it nationally televised? I guess
it's on
is.
NFL Network.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
because sometimes those London games you don't get unless you get the full package.
Last year they did them all. I thought
not every one of them.
I would wake up and watch on NFL Network.
Yeah, I saw them no matter who was playing. I ended up seeing it, but I thought they were going to get at least 2 because of the Thursday in the London game. That third one was a bonus. I didn't know that they would get a Monday night game. But I did say yesterday, listen, the sole reason why I believe they're going to get primetime games is because of Derrick Henry and Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys.
Okay.
And they end up getting 3.
So we got that is about what we thought. Another thing we brought up yesterday in anticipation, how would they do the division games? One of my pet peeves is you should not play a division team twice over a 3 or 4 week span, but that's exactly what happened with Houston.
See,
so
I've
it's
decided
interesting.
I like that.
I don't like it because you're getting you could have any number of scenarios by the time you get to that point. But it is interesting to me thinking about a guy like Stroud, who you would figure is going to be in there at some point, and then you're going to see him after probably several games under his belt. He's going to be further along than he would have been if you played him twice early in the season. That's just one thing that comes to mind. But I would have liked one in the first half of the season, one in the second half of the season. They did it with Jacksonville. They basically did it with Indianapolis, but not with Houston.
Yeah, well, and think about this. So starting on the weekend after Thanksgiving, in 3 out of the 4 weeks, they could see Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, and C.J. Stroud, hypothetically, because they got Carolina here on the 26th, Indy here the next week, and then they're at Miami for the Monday night game, and then Houston here on the 17th.
And like you said, the odds tell you that most years there's only been a handful of quarterbacks who, as rookies, have led their teams to 9 or more wins. You can look at it. History, there have been a couple, but history would tell you that it's very difficult to win big with a rookie quarterback in his first year, no matter how high the pick is. So those games could be very winnable games.
And who's under center for the Titans then?
Yeah.
Well,
is it still Tannehill?
This is all in the, you have optimism that the Titans could be good. If the Titans are going to be good, it's more likely that it's going to be Tannehill that's going to make them a good team.
Well, a lot of
unless it's really, it could really be going against the grain. We don't know. But I will never forget being in Florida. I just moved to Florida when Dan Marino burst on the scene. The Dolphins were a good team. And they had David Woodley and Don Strock, and they went to the Super Bowl right before that, and then all of a sudden, boom, they threw Marino in what it was like a lightning bolt, and everything changed. That's a rare thing. It's a rare thing.
So I'll ask you guys the same question that I asked Michelle this morning on our show. So you go 6 games until the off week. All right. So you go to London and then you get the bye. If they're 3-3 at that point, to me that's a very good scenario to be in. And the 3 that I would say that could be losses would potentially be Chargers, Bengals, and then the Ravens in London, because I feel like those are the toughest opponents that they may have all year, at least on paper, would be in that first 6. So if you're 3-3 by the time you get to the bye, you got to feel good about your season, and I don't think you're thinking about a quarterback change.
No, you're not thinking about a quarterback change unless the quarterback isn't playing well, which we don't expect that from Ryan Tannehill based upon his history here with the Titans. Now, he hasn't been the greatest, but he hasn't been bad either. He's been sort of middle of the road, a little bit better than that. So if they're 3-3 and Ryan Tannehill is playing well, then yeah, you keep him in as your quarterback, because you're looking at what am I doing within the division. They got one division game in the first 6 games. They play Indy. So if you can win that Indy game, then okay, we're 1-0 in division. Now we're moving forward. If you're 3-3 overall, I don't think you can start messing with, the dish. You got to allow the dish to continue to simmer and cook, and then see what you have as you move on with the season. Because 3-3, you're not even halfway through the season, and you're sitting 3-3, which means you're about at your average. You're in the middle of the pack. You're 500, and you're probably, depending on how the other teams, where do they play each other that first 6 weeks, you may be either at the top of the division, in the middle of the division. If you're 1-0, you're still good within the division. Mm-hmm. So you don't make no changes. You just play it. You continue to play it out and see how it goes.
At that point, on just looking at it right now with an incomplete roster, just thinking what I know, I guess is the best way to put it. I would have the Titans at 3-3, and I would have the Jags at 4-2, based on their first 6 games compared to the Titans' first 6 games. And so you're right. You're right there in the hunt, and you haven't even played the Jags yet at at that point.
No, I mean you're right. We're talking if indeed that scenario sort of plays itself out the first six games when you're talking about the Jags. More importantly, the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, and look, the Saints are a wild card because I think that's a tough place to start because it's Derek Carr's first game in New Orleans.
Well, and let me.
Titans are a 2.5-point underdog, by the way, according to our man.
Oh, wow.
What's his name?
Jimmy Shapiro.
Jimmy Shapiro, who immediately texts us everything like he's our best buddy.
I haven't even looked.
He set lines for Week 1. He has New Orleans a 2.5-point favorite.
But if you look at the first
in May.
6 games of their schedule, this is going to be a difficult part of their schedule because of whatever you may look at Cleveland and say, Cleveland is going to be Cleveland. No, but Cleveland,
I don't know what they are.
I think they're going to be better because now you have a quarterback that's going to be able to practice with the team, through camp and everything else. The anticipation is not, okay, he's going to practice and play in a few preseasons, then we're not going to have him for 6 games.
And they looked at times last year like a decent team. Like they had some good weeks, even with Brissett quarterbacking. You're like, wow, if they had Watson at full tilt, So I think they will have some optimism, I would say. So it's really hard. As we know, we're sitting here in May. Things change a lot. And when we're penciling in W here, I like 4-2 here, that's going to evolve a lot for sure. Here's one other thing I think we should cover. How do you guys feel of 5 of the last 7 at home? That's pretty road heavy early. 5 of the last 7 at home. Now, as we know, in these changing times, home field advantage is not what we perceive sometimes. It's a lot more 50-50 in general in the schedule. But do you like, especially with the way the weather changes in our city, right? It's a lot different playing in September than it is playing in December.
Yeah, but it's
so you could have some bad weather games in there.
Yeah, but your opponents. I mean, you don't have to go out to Seattle, so that's a plus. You got Carolina. You don't know how Carolina's going to look, but you have them at home. Indianapolis, you're going to know what Indianapolis looks like prior to playing them at home because you play them early in the season at their place. You got Houston here. Obviously, I said Seattle. And then you got you in the season with Jacksonville. Now, whether that Jacksonville game will be a game that decides the division or not, I don't know. But it's going to decide something, whether it be for the Tennessee Titans or the Jacksonville Jaguars, I believe. Because I think ultimately this division is going to be a little bit closer than what many may think. And I'm talking about all the teams. I'm not just talking about Jacksonville and the Titans. I think Indianapolis is going to be a much better team. And I think Houston, with their new head coach, they're going to be a much better team than what we and they've always gave the Titans fits.
I don't necessarily 100% disagree with you. I think they're going to be better, but I think they might be like a year away from actually being able to do something. Like I could see them being so young and having a rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback that you're going to see growing pains, especially early on. But I would almost put them in the category of being like Detroit and being that team that, and it may not be next year, it could be the following year where they go, where did they come from? And then, watch out. Indy, I think is all dependent on because I think they start Gardner Minshew. So how good can Gardner Minshew be as a starter to give Richardson time to develop? Personally, Richardson doesn't need to touch the field this year. I don't think.
Well, I've heard both sides of the argument there. You've heard, and Tim Hasselbeck said it. He needs to just play. Need to play. He hasn't played enough, so you need to play him. But these are all the arguments about when is the right time to throw the rookie in there. So Again, that's all going to play itself out. But some interesting questions about the schedule. It's time to transition into Ask D-Mase. You can ask D-Mase something about the schedule if you'd like. Of course, it's all open. Whatever you want to talk to D-Mase about, life problems, issues, football stuff, history stuff, all of that is open. And we've got Ask D-Mase coming up here in just a moment. Suit, thanks for coming by. You can ask D-Mase the first question if you want. If you want to stick around, you got busy.
I'm good. I got to
go
make some calls. Got some meetings. Yeah.
Suit duties.
Suit duties. Suit fittings. All those things.
That's how life goes.
Yeah.
All right.
Good to see you guys.
We're coming back with more here on The Game.
The NFL offseason is in full swing, but you'll never miss any of the big news. Thanks to Yahoo's Charles Robinson.
They know that there's a chance that they're going to have to deal this guy.
He's one of the best insiders there is.
All of a sudden, he becomes a functional player who we thought was just trash.
Join Charles Robinson every Thursday morning at 8 on Robbie and Rex Road, presented by the NFL Alumni Association on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's time for Nashville Sounds Baseball with a Friday fireworks show. The Sounds take the field tonight at 6:35 against the Gwinnett Stripers. Gates open at 5:30, but stick around for the whole game to enjoy a post-game fireworks show. Tickets available now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report is in, and the Pella Windows and Doors brand is #1 for the most trusted, most often recommended by others, and highest quality. Nashville area homeowners are very lucky because Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of the top locations in the country. They provide award-winning excellence when it comes to craftsmanship and installation. If you need new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale with everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great place to start. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can help you find that balance and stick to it. Visit BetterHelp.com/score to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/score.
Evangelista going to the net. He shoots and scores!
Make sure you tune in tonight for the Predators AHL affiliate Milwaukee Admirals as they open their second-round series against the Texas Stars. Luke Evangelista in that great hair trying to lead the way against Texas. You can check out the Future Preds in postseason action. Coverage begins right here at 7 o'clock.
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
D-Mase. He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, it is time for Ask D-Mase. The canvas is wide open. Call or text on our call and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. We've got John Fogerty tickets, July 25th. That's the prize today. 615-737-1025. That's 615-737-1025. We've talked a lot about the schedule today. D-Mase is a big Laker fan. We're just looking at Stephen A. Smith's famous buzzer beaters from the playoffs. We can get into anything and everything here. We just want to have some fun on a Friday. We'll talk about the snub of UC Saros at 1 o'clock. That's going to be part of what we get into there. Mm-hmm. But hit the lines and ask D-Mase whatever you want to ask. One caller, or one texter from the last discussion to just sort of transition here, asking about the turf. Is there going to be the new synthetic turf at the stadium when we're envisioning these games? And that is something we talked about. 5 of the last 7 are at home. Mm-hmm. It won't be the field muddy issues that we had before because they will be a different surface there. Exactly. That's going to change the game a little bit.
New turf, absolutely. So we'll see.
Yeah. Hey, D-Mase, do you still keep up with the old morning show crew? Loved that show with Braden and Nick. Now, that harkens me back. We had Nick on, Nick Kale, not too long ago. We had a good time talking to him.
Yeah, I keep up with Nick, keep up with Braden. Both of them are doing well. Nick has transitioned into more of the political realm there in the Northeast. And Braden is doing Braden things, talking sports. So both of them seem to be doing well. That was a good show, and I really learned a lot from both of those guys. Just to watch both of them and our different personalities. So, but yeah.
Are you getting more sleep?
Hell yeah, I'm getting more sleep. No longer that I got to wake up at 4:30 in the morning.
737-1025. Hit up D-Mase with some questions here. Next one, Mr. D-Mase. A little emphasis on how he puts this in there. What would your thoughts be on the USFL and XFL merging, then using their leave as a grooming area for new draft picks or players who need a little bit more experience, say like the NHL model? Well, of course, there would be a lot of planning, but what about the general concept? This guy's kind of speaking my language. So, Randy, I appreciate where you're going with this.
You know what? It probably – it's sort of like when the NFL and AFL merged and, made a bigger, conference or whatnot because for so long it was the AFL doing their own thing and then the NFL doing theirs. And then after some years, they just decided to merge and make one huge conglomerate. And we see, what has happened since, NFL being the biggest North American sport around. So that is interesting. I don't know how the two owners of those said groups, those said leagues would approach a situation like that. But I think, it could work if everybody was on the same page, just like anything else. Because now you're taking two leagues, you're merging them together, and you're building a bigger league with more teams and more money. So, I mean, it could work. But then you're saying, well, it could be a feeder for the NFL.
That's what I love. I would love to find a way to get a feeder league in there.
But
where
then
guys could develop.
You have to convince the owners of the XFL, the USFL, which are going to merge, to also now give up some ownership in their league to the NFL, because essentially that's what it would be. The NFL will have ownership in your league if indeed it's a true feeder league for the NFL. If guys that come out of college, they're not quite ready to make it to the NFL. Either they don't get drafted or they may make a club and they end up getting cut but need some more grooming. Well, they go to this said league, whatever it would be called, but it's a merger between the XFL and the USFL. They're still going to want some type of ownership of that if it's going to be, if you're feeding me players ultimately.
615-737-1025. We're going to go to the phones in here in just a minute. We've got a good one here. Hey, D-Mase, what happened to the Frog's car?
The Frog's car?
It got towed. Add that to the list, D-Mase.
Yes.
Put that in the file.
Thank you. I got
Dad
it.
Joke Friday for D-Mase.
What happened to the Frog's car?
Got towed. And then he adds, what has become your new dream career? Is that a trick question? I mean, you're living the dream right now, aren't you?
The dream
Here we
right
are.
Now. Exactly.
On the air.
We're on the air.
On the
talking
airwaves.
Sports, talking Titans, Preds, Vols, Vandy. I'm living the dream, man. Living the dream.
Oh, man. Now we got another guy. Hey, D-Mase, what do you call a bear with no teeth?
Toothless.
A gummy bear. Our listeners are on a roll. They're on a roll.
Oh, my goodness. You want to go to the phones?
Let's go to the phones. What do we got? We got.
Going to go to
Is
Wes?
that Doug or Wes?
Is it Doug or Wes?
Who's up first? Doug up first.
Doug up first.
Yeah. Doug, welcome in to Ask D-Mase.
Guys. I've got a football question today.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. The schedule is out. We see who the Titans are playing. we don't really know who the quarterback's going to be, but what game do you see the second quarterback will get playing time? Either we beat the crap out of somebody and he gets garbage minutes, or the score is so crazy that we got to throw the other guy in to get some garbage minutes. What game do you see a second quarterback get playing time?
Ooh, thanks, Doug, for the question.
There's not that many blowouts usually. But in the NFL.
Even in that scenario, I can't see it happening anywhere in the first 10 games of the season, 11 games of the season. Because here's what happens. If there is sort of like a blowout and you throw Will Levis in there and say there's, I don't know, a quarter left. You want to get Ryan Tannehill out of there, man. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, y'all out. Don't want to chance it. Put him on the sideline. Still a quarter left. If Will Levis comes in and he does well, you've opened up the Pandora's box. Now, for no reason at all. You didn't even have to open it. But you open up Pandora's box. And what is everyone going to say after that if Will Levis does well?
Get the kid in there.
Get the kid in there. He's ready. Get the kid. He's ready to go. No, you don't play this young man unless you have to. I can see them doing it toward the end of the season. Like maybe say for instance, the Titans, they do well. And say they're up a game or two in their division. And that last game don't mean nothing. They're making it to the playoffs. Sort of like it was a couple of years ago. I could see them then playing Will Levis and saying, okay, let's see what the kid can do the last game of the season. Or maybe the second to last game of the season. But I can't see them doing that anytime before that.
Yeah, so there may not be such a thing as garbage time.
Exactly.
Almost, in the eyes of a lot of fans anyway, if nothing else. Because as soon as you open that can of worms, like you said, it could get very complicated.
Exactly.
All right, segment number 2 of Ask D-Mase is coming up. Get the questions coming. Think outside the box. You want to go straight football, Titans schedule, dad jokes, you could do that, but life's lessons. D-Mase is here for you, and you can win John Fogerty tickets for July 25th. That's going to be a fun summer night. 615-737-1025 here on Ask D-Mase, 1025 The Game.
This fall,
Andy, 24-21, your final.
The Game.
All by himself for a one-hand flush.
Gets bigger.
The doors on the board.
Your new home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 1025 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. Football, men's basketball, baseball, and women's basketball all live here. Your home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 1025 and 1063 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Spring. It's a season full of new life and new opportunities to celebrate. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. From weddings and anniversaries to new babies and graduations, plus everything in between, there's no better place to discover the perfect gift for every occasion than the Diamond Cellar. As a true jeweler, we not only curate the finest selection of luxury jewelry from world-class designers, but we can also create something truly one-of-a-kind just for you. Visit the Diamond Cellar in Green Hills or online at diamondcellar.com.
Nashville is now home to an award-winning full-service spa, Mocara, located in the beautiful Omni Nashville Hotel. Features a wide range of signature services, including massage therapy, body and facial treatments, and yoga. This Mother's Day, treat your mother to a relaxing day at Mocara Spa. She deserves it. Purchasing your Mocara Mother's Day gift cards is easy. Go to omnihotels.com/Nashville or simply stop into the spa located on the 4th floor of the Omni Nashville Hotel, 250 5th Avenue South. For more information, simply call 615-761-3600.
Does this sound familiar? Did your agent provide excellent entertainment with their TikTok videos and constant social media posts about themselves while completely ignoring that you hired them to sell your home? Did they tell you how wonderful they were? How many followers they had? They probably never sold your home, but hey, they did get 15 likes on their selfies. Hashtag my clients love me. Don't let that happen to you. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why the only likes we care about are our clients loving our service. Ask us about our prepay with TJ option and how it can save you thousands. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Mom, we're out of potato chips.
Teenagers, they'll eat you out of house and home, kind of like health insurance, which can take a big bite out of the family budget. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available.
Can we order pizza?
Visit FBHP.com or your local Farm Bureau office today.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willy Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. It's that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
He's got big takes.
It's not that freaking hard. Hand the ball to Henry.
Small takes.
You have to defend your decision.
But all takes.
They win, they lose. Just invested a lot into this game. I thought it was the worst press conference.
He is Jared Stillman.
I guess I'm just not a very good coach, Jared.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
D-Mase.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willy, and
D-Mase.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Segment 2 of Ask D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game, Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. John Fogerty tickets on the line. We got the texters lined up. Who we got? Do we still have Wes on there, Nick? I am looking up. I don't see the name, but I believe Wes is on the line. So let's get Wes to get it started. 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Wes, what do you got for D-Mase?
Man, I thought I had a dad joke, but I don't. I think it might just be just a little too inappropriate for the radio, so we'll have to wait. But my question for you, man, is I got a sports question today, and it is, who is the most important, or I guess important would be the word, who is the most important to their sport? Would that be LeBron James to the NBA, Tom Brady to the NFL, or Willie Mays to the MLB?
Ooh. Oh, man. Well, considering, the times, I think it would be a no-brainer, would be Willie Mays in Major League Baseball. That would be a no-brainer, because of, the day and what was going on back in those days or whatnot. So that wouldn't you say that would be almost like a no-brainer in a sense that Willie Mays would be that guy that was most important to their sport based on the times. Now you look at LeBron, because in Tom Brady, I don't think Tom Brady's as great as he is, then his importance to the game, it's because it was just from a play standpoint. In league, in the NFL, they go no matter what.
Yeah.
The NFL just keep going. They don't care who you are, how great you were. It's a machine. They keep going. They will honor you, and always honor you a guy like Tom Brady, but the machine goes on.
Mm-hmm.
NBA is different from the sense of they need a face. We've always seen it. When it, whether it was Magic and Bird that saved the NBA back then, or Michael Jordan that, elevated it even more to a point where it became more global, to LeBron James taking it and keeping it at that standard along with the other people now that are sort of in the game too. So if you're asking me if I'm sort of stacking the importance of each individual, I think it would be Willie Mays first, LeBron, and then Tom Brady.
The Willie Mays thing is interesting. I agree with you're saying. He was not Jackie Robinson.
He wasn't Jackie Robinson,
but he was in that first
exactly.
wave of integration.
Absolutely.
So that was a very important time for influence that goes beyond just what he was doing on the field. But
exactly.
He definitely is in that group, right? So good question. Good stuff from Wes. All right, we got a lot of questions here. Next up, texter says, hi, do you think A-Rod will do well with the Jets? Meaning Aaron Rodgers, obviously, not A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod. Can they beat the Bills? Happy Nurses Week from a 20-year registered nurse. This nurse wants to win. I listen to you guys every day. Tighten up, she says. Well, thank you for the call.
Thank you for the
text.
Call. Thank you for the text. Said Happy Nurse Day. That's what it is.
Nurses Week.
Nurses Week.
Hey,
Excuse
the
me,
nurses deserve a week. I'm okay with that.
Happy Nurses Week. Nurse Week. Because they do a lot of the grunt work that we don't see sometimes. We only see the surgeon, but you don't actually see the nurses, and the nurses are there for a reason. Without them, a lot of this stuff can't happen. But Aaron Rodgers, Jets, I think, I heard this the other day. I was watching, I forget, it might have been ESPN that I was watching, and they were going back and forth with the Jets and, can the Jets, will they win the championship this year? And, all this stuff because of Aaron Rodgers. And there were some points being made, some valid points being made, just like there were today when I was watching it. He gives you an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers, but we've seen teams. Now, we saw what the Rams did, and it worked for them. It worked for them. They went out and they got the quarterback, but they had a really good team before that. But it worked for them. They got their guy. They won the Super Bowl. But we've also seen what Daniel Snyder tried to do many years ago when he brought in all these future Hall of Famers, and they didn't even make the playoffs. He had Bruce Smith. He had Mark Carrier. He had Deion Sanders, Mark Brunell in. He had all of these guys that were either going to be Hall of Famers or borderline Hall of Famers, and I don't even think they made the playoffs that year. So I say that to say this. It's not just the collection of guys you bring together. It's how they mesh once they get there. They may not make it to the Super Bowl this year, the Jets. I don't expect them to make it to the Super Bowl this year. It's going to possibly take another year. That's why they traded so much for Aaron Rodgers, because to them, this is not a one-year deal. This is a 2, maybe 3-year deal. Same with Tampa. It wasn't a one-year deal with them. This was a multiple-year deal with Tom Brady. Just so happened, they found it, and it started clicking the second half of the season, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. But that defense played lights out. So if the Jets want to have an opportunity to win like this year, Super Bowl, their defense has to play lights out, because I think their defense will be ahead of the curve, whereas their offense will be a step behind.
Okay, this is good stuff. Excellent question so far. The next one, a very good question, and I had to try to do a little research on this. D-Mase, how does the NFL determine the location of the games, or what the schedule is between two teams that finished in the same place the previous year? In other words, two teams finished, say, 8-9 or 7-10. Who gets the second place schedule? Who gets the third place schedule? That's the question.
I think they break it down. Obviously you look at the record first. If the record's identical, like the whole of the record is identical, then I think you start to break it down. Well, common opponents. What's the
strength of schedule?
Yes.
I believe that's correct. The strength of schedule is whoever had the tougher strength of schedule. That's how you determine who's second, who's third. Like I think
based upon the previous year.
Like if you played against a tougher schedule, the previous year that's been done.
Okay.
So you would get the easier schedule if you played the tougher schedule the year before. I think is how it works.
If both of you end up with the same exact record. So, I mean, the NFL they've gotten that figured out. I don't think that's been. Has that happened much?
Well, I guess ties do happen.
Yeah, ties happen.
So you have to go the strength of schedule. Of course, you could probably get into a pretty good debate on what's the real measure of strength of schedule, but I think it's fairly. I don't know what their
because
equation
your
is.
strength of schedule,
home and road and all that stuff.
Yeah, but at the beginning, it may be different as you go along through the season. Because what do we say? Listen, I understand what we projected to be and what this team was last year, meaning their opponents. But then you get into a season, and that team may end up being, for whatever reason, worse this year than it was the previous year. So it started off with the strength of schedule being a hard one, but as you start to play, that schedule, whether it be because of injuries or that team, for whatever reason, just not playing well, that strength of schedule ends up diminishing because of that.
Good questions coming our way here. Okay, question for D-Mase. If you were a veteran wide receiver on the market today, would you avoid the Titans? I tend to think that agents might even be nudging receivers away from here. But I want a receiver's thoughts on what your mindset would be as a free agent looking at the Titans.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And, I didn't avoid the Baltimore Ravens. And they had a second-year quarterback. And they were a team that, was known for running the football and playing great defense. So, no, I wouldn't, avoid the Titans. And this is the reason why. One, they have a really good coach. 2, they got a damn good running back. 3, their quarterback is good. But, most importantly, they got a really good defense as it sits now. I know that we're going to win more games than not because of the defense. And as long as we do our part offensively, we're going to be okay. We're going to be in a position to not only make the playoffs, but be a contender for the Super Bowl. You can have a high-powered offense, and if your defense is trash, you ain't going nowhere. When I was looking at teams after I was booted from here, I looked at their defenses. Like, I got tired of playing against the Baltimore Ravens defense. I knew who they were. So my thing is, if I play with this defense, the opportunity for me getting to the Super Bowl is greater with this team right here because of their defense, because of their attitude, because of the foundation of their organization. Really good defense, stud running back in Jamal Lewis. The quarterback was young, but they had a really good offensive line. And they had drafted a receiver in the first round the year I got there, in Mark Clayton, and then myself, and they had Todd Heap as well. So we had a good offense. The quarterback just needed to grow within that offense. So I felt, listen, this is not about me, catching a million balls. This gives me an opportunity to make it to the Super Bowl.
So you do have to think outside the box a little bit. It's not just what's the history. What other surrounding factors are there? All right, one more question. This comes from Keith. Hey, D-Mase, why do fools fall in love?
Who was that?
It's Diana Ross, the Supremes.
No, but no, the Supremes didn't sing it first. It was Lemon. What was his name? The guy. They made a movie of him. I forget his name. But why do fools fall in love?
That is the question, D-Mase.
Yeah, I'm saying.
We ask questions in life here. This is Keith. He
he's
wants to know. Why do fools fall in love?
Because we all have this idea of what love is, and we all want it, and we crave it. We're humans. We crave love, and no matter what, we're gonna fall. It's gonna overtake us no matter what.
You know how much rejection I face every day.
Hey, you gonna continue.
Sometimes
to fall in
it is
love.
chemical, right? It's beyond your control, right?
But
sometimes
even the wisest ones fall in love.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. Love doesn't look at your intelligence at all, not one bit.
The mysteries of life answered by D-Mase here on our show every Friday. This is good. Good segment from Ask D-Mase. Sorry we didn't get to everybody today. We tried to, but we'll determine the winner here in the next hour. Coming up, too, we will talk what the heck happened with the GMs. They didn't vote. UC Saros, one of the Vezina finalists, we will discuss. Plus, D-Mase will update the NBA playoffs. We got a lot coming up in the final hour of the show right here on 102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Tools of the Game brought to you by Northern Tool and Equipment, helping problem solvers for over 40 years. Northern Tool has anniversary sale savings. Take $50 off the Power Horse 3200 PSI pressure washer. Now just $299.99. Limited time only. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
AM radio provides always-on news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports. And it's also a vital service that provides important emergency information when your community needs it most. Tell Congress you need AM radio to stay in your car. Because when cell phones and the internet are down, this free emergency service is critical. And when you don't have electricity, radio in the car is often your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keiser. The NFL's 2023 regular season slate has been announced by team. And your Tennessee Titans will have 2 games on primetime this year. Week 8 on Prime Video at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then Week 13 at the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football. And the New Jersey Devils were eliminated from the postseason last night by the Carolina Hurricanes. The 2 squads went to overtime, and then at 7:09, the Hurricanes clinched the series on this game-winning goal, as heard on the Hurricanes Radio Network.
Back for Drury, back to Gostis there at the left point. Now Code Kaniemi, top of the right circle. His shot, they score! Yes, Mark Voss ends it! Carolina going to the conference finals! The Canes win it 3-2 in overtime!
And the Nashville Predators AHL affiliate Milwaukee Admirals have Game 1 of the Central Division Final tonight against the Texas Stars starting at 7 p.m. You can hear the action right here this evening. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
1025 and 1063.
Cranks it, he scores.
On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado.
Final hour, Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase here on 1025 The Game. Don't forget you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Every day, our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code The Game. Now, yesterday, one of my fears came true. They announced the Vezina Trophy finalists. And UC Soros was not one of them. So, why is that a big deal? Well, at the end of the day, life goes on, right? We know how good UC Soros is, but you just like to see people get recognized who deserve to be recognized. And they announced the finalists: Linus Ullmark, Boston Bruins; Ilya Sorokin, New York Islanders; Connor Hellebuck, Winnipeg Jets. All three very worthy, very good goalies, excellent seasons. That's the tough part about getting into the top three. It's not easy because there's always good competition out there. It's like we were talking about the transfer portal, right? It's you can transfer all you want, but you're not going to just go and be handed an award or playing time just because. You got to compete, right? So when you're trying to become the best goalie, to be the absolute best or a finalist in the top three, there's competition. So this is nothing against those three guys. But the central issue is, D-Mase, we talked about it down the stretch. In this day and age, there are better ways of tracking a player's performance statistically, right? Like when you were growing up or when you first came into the NFL, we did not have what we have today in terms of, like, for example, when you looked at your stats, if I was covering you, which I did as a young radio guy, and I was doing the post-game show, when I got the final stats, it would say Derek Mason, 5 catches, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. It didn't have how many times you were targeted. It didn't say, hey, look, they only threw it to him 5 times. He caught it all 5. Or was it 5 for 11? They didn't put that down on the sheet. Nobody was really tracking that, not with any great degree, not for public knowledge, right? Maybe there were a few teams behind the scenes that would look for that. But we didn't have all of the things that measure. They didn't necessarily say, right, hey, all 5 of Derek's catches were third down conversions. They resulted in first downs, right? You might know that off the top of your head. You might remember, hey, remember 3 of those 5 catches were big catches.
They were chain movers.
Yeah. So there was nothing to distinguish necessarily how important those 5 catches were, right? As opposed to somebody might have 5 catches for 93 yards, but it was garbage time, right? They were down by 3 touchdowns, and he caught 4 of them on the last drive, and the game was out of hand. Right now we have much better ways of tracking what those catches, what those yards mean in a game. And the same is true in hockey with UC Soros. That's what frustrates me. The Predators made an effort, and there were a lot of articles written that illustrated how good UC Soros was relative to what he was facing every night. And it didn't mean anything at the end of the day, apparently, to the GMs who vote for the Vezina. And so that really disappoints me. Either they are not looking at these stats at all, B, they just don't think those stats are that important, or C, it's a very traditionalist, they didn't make the playoffs, so we can't make them a finalist.
Do you think they should take it out of the hands of the GMs? Because, listen, these GMs have so many other, jobs that they need to do throughout the year. And I'm sure not all of them. I'm sure there were a handful of them that just sort of, hey, give me the surface stuff of what they did. Wins, how many times they were in net, what was their team records. All right, give me those and let me see. Oh, okay, I based it upon that. Who's winning, who's not. All right, I'm going to put this guy ahead of this guy. His team's winning. He's playing very well. His save percentage is pretty good, so I'm going to put this guy. Instead of really sort of digging underneath at those sort of numbers that you don't see on the surface.
You have to make an effort.
Exactly. You got to really make an effort. And are we asking these GMs to do a little bit too much? Like, they already got to manage their own team. Now you're asking them to vote on who's the best, goalie out there. Well, what if I only played that goalie once or twice, and I played this other goalie 4 times, and I've seen this other goalie more than I've seen that one? I may be partial to the one that I've seen more times than not. So I think there needs to be another layer of not just giving all of the power to the GM.
I struggle with that because I deep down, and you remember I asked Elliot about that. You know, do the GMs really do their homework? Because I know for a fact that the Predators put information out there. They sent it out. For the awards, they sent it out to the writers. They sent it to the voters, right? It's up to the voters to then take that information and actually look at it, and then process it. So I don't know if they're doing that or not. Elliot had an interesting answer. He said there are some GMs that would be insulted that you would even think that they would take something lightly. Like I know for a fact.
But that doesn't mean they don't take it lightly.
I know. I do feel pretty good. I know David Poyle every year, from what I'm told, he really takes it very seriously. He asks people. He looks at numbers. He wants to give a good vote. He made no bones about it. This is the last year he's voting. He said, I know who I'm voting for. I'm voting for UC Saros. And so not every year does a guy do that, right? But you knew in a place like Nashville this year, a smaller market, not a team that was in the headlines a lot, it would be easy for what UC Saros did to slip under the radar. And that's what they feared. But everybody who watched him every night was saying, golly, this guy's unbelievable. This guy has elevated everybody. People need to know this. And so they tried. But obviously it didn't work. It's also so easy sometimes to say, well, it's close. There's a lot of good goalies out there. Let's go with the guy who's got the most wins, or let's go on the guy that's got the best team.
So with saying that, because we know, whether it's the MVP vote or the MVP award in basketball, baseball, or football, or whether it's the Vezina or whatnot. We look at the MVP. It's an individual award in those sports, but more than likely it's individual, but it's team. Like you're not going to win the MVP in football if your team is not doing well.
It's very hard.
It's
very
hard
rare
to win.
That's
very rare.
So in baseball, Andre Dawson won it one year for the Cubs, and they were in last place.
Exactly.
But he had a great year, and he still managed to win the MVP. But that rarely happens in sports.
So do they view the Vezina as that as well? Meaning, okay, you're doing well individually, but how is your team doing as well?
I think it's up to the voter, right? There's no criteria that's given to them, but I think that is the word I would use would be traditionalist. That's a traditionalist view of how you end up voting. Because I do think there's a lot of that. It's a natural thing to say, well, how's this team doing? So I do think that worked against UC Saros for sure. We had a good text from Joey in Bellevue. Willie, I guarantee you Saros was the number one vote from the Hurricanes GM. He had 64 saves in one of the games, and then they beat him again late in the season. So, Nick, you did some research on this. What was your thought when you saw this?
Right, and so I think one consistent thing, too, Willie, that I have to point out here is I've got some people commenting on this situation as well after a column I wrote. He didn't have the strongest start to the season. I think that is a fair assessment. But look at the just whole body of work that he had. And so he had 42 quality starts out of 60 total games that he played in this year. That's very impressive. The guy that was behind him had 40, and I believe that was Linus Ullmark. Or if it wasn't him, it was at least Ilya Sorokin. Might have been Sorokin. But anyway, I think another one that stands out to me personally, when I was looking up some research on him, he also led the NHL in expected goals against with 217. And so that was the most. And when your team is expected to give up that many goals and he is stopping all of them, because at the end of the day, too, he's also leading the NHL in 46.7 goals save above expected. Right. And so that was the biggest indicator to me that he was fighting and giving the Predators every single inch to win hockey games. And like Willie's famous for saying in the promo, They don't win enough close games. They just didn't do that this year, but they did win a lot of 2-1 games.
Oh, they led the league
in
2-1 games.
They absolutely did.
He had no margin for error. And yet, like he had the fewest goal support, he had the highest heat, like he was facing the most pressure.
Yes.
These are the things that he far and away exceeded the other three guys on that list. So if you look into the numbers, those analytics that Nick just pointed out, and there's other ones too, he's number 1. He's not number 2 or 3. He's 1 in all of those categories. And he played on a team where if he didn't play well, they didn't do well. And to your point, Nick, yeah, he got off to a bit of a slow start, and they lost.
He did.
Most of those games.
He did.
But everybody's going to have a few bad starts. But he still, at the end of the year, led in all of those categories despite the bad start.
Right. One other thing, too, and we can get into this more if you want to, or just anyone wants to weigh in, just text us 615-737-1025. You know, he could be in the Hart conversation. He won't win the Hart.
That's the dilemma because they'd never give him the Hart.
No.
Because that is where I do think that you got to play on him.
If you ask me, he could get more votes for that this year, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, the ballots and where he fell won't come out until the awards. So when we come back, we'll talk more about it. A lot of you are texting in with some opinions on this. Hey, look, you may disagree with me. You might, and one, Raymond from Franklin says, hey, top 5, yes, but not top 3.
Not winner.
And I'm not arguing that he should win it. I'm saying top 3, absolutely. He should be in there. Ahead of Hellebuck, in my estimation. We'll get into this more on the other side. Also, Scott Nickel joined the guys a little bit earlier. Remember, Milwaukee starting round 2 tonight. Very important for the Titans. Or sorry, I keep saying that we've been talking a lot of Titans schedule today. Very important for the Predators' outlook, how the Milwaukee Admirals do. So many of the familiar names you saw are back in Milwaukee trying to win a championship in the AHL. Stay tuned. We've got more coming on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
All the big plays.
Ball right to score. Yoshi sets up Matt Duchene.
All the big stories.
For the Predators, are you holding on to what you got, or are you selling some guys off?
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Green flag is in the air.
It may not happen that way every game.
His shot stopped.
Gotta play better, gotta coach better.
TD Tigers.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You know why insurance companies use all those cute and funny characters? To distract you from realizing you're only getting one option. If you want to compare prices, you're forced to visit multiple websites just to get one quote at a time. But not with Xander Insurance, because they work for you. Xander is a broker that shops dozens of top companies to find the best competitive rates for the coverage you need, and they keep reviewing your policy every year to make sure you're getting the best value. They're always available to answer questions, handle problems, and make sure that when it comes to insurance, your life is simple and hassle-free. You even have direct access to their senior management team. If your current company or agent doesn't do this much for you, let Xander Insurance help. Compare rates online at Xander.com or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch. When Xander works for you, you're going to see the difference. Again, that's 800-356-1780, or you can visit Xander.com with no characters needed.
Mid-State Sports summer registration is going on now. Adults can register as an individual or bring their whole team for softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For more info, visit midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Mid-State.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
Buffalo Bills Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's East Entrance. 5 museums in one and the greatest firearms museum anywhere. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bills Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Joakim Kimmel, who was the Predators' first-round pick last year, was a guy who got brought up and has had some major production for you all in the last couple of weeks. What can you just say about his growth in the time that he's been with you all in Milwaukee?
He's been fantastic. He's a 2004 birth year. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get from him. He played over in Finland. It's almost, I kind of clump him in with Parson, and like when they play over in Finland, it's a very structured game. It's not a whole lot of offense. It's more defense, and I think he's enjoyed being here and being around the puck. He's got a lot more bite, and he's a lot more physical than I thought. Like, he's a pure shooter. He's got good skill, but he works hard, and he's not scared to, take the body, be first on puck. So for a young kid coming in at 3/4 of the way through the season, he's been really good for us. And I've been, he's been in our, other than the suspension, and then he's been a huge part of our group. So very happy with him. He's good personality, and he fits right in with our team.
That was Scott Nickel earlier today on our station with Chase and Michelle about Joakim Kimmel, who was the first-round pick just last summer. Only 18, 19, just turned 19, somewhere in there. First year as a pro coming over from Finland, and he is in the mix. He's done well with Milwaukee as they start their second round of the playoffs. So it does really illustrate how important development is. We know the Predators, they need more. They're going to go through an interesting offseason here where Barry Trotz has got some tough decisions to make. Who does he give a lot of responsibility to? Who does he try to maybe sign to fill a hole? And how much is he just going to leave the space for guys like this to come up and fill? So Kimmel is more, a project that's going to probably be in play a little bit more year or two down the road because he's so young, but he's moving up fast, I would say. I didn't think Luke Evangelista would play in the NHL at all this past year, and we saw what he did, right? So guys go on different tracks. Sometimes you got to be patient. Sometimes guys are ready pretty quick, but Kimmel is a shooter. He has shown the ability to score goals and be productive in the AHL against older guys at in a pretty quick rate. So that's good stuff.
Now, what is your experience with watching these AHL players and knowing that the level of play and whatnot is a little bit different? What has been your experience with them playing in that level and then coming up to the NHL? Is it usually take some years, or it just depends on the player?
It depends on the player. Like you have, for example, the whole Connor Bedard thing that we talked about earlier this week when the Bulls won the Blackhawks won the lottery, right? He's going to go right into the NHL. Like there are a few guys each year. I would, and really, I shouldn't say each year because there's probably an occasional season where nobody's really ready. Now I think sometimes the expectation is, for better or worse, that when you're one of the first couple of picks, you're probably expected. The fans will be like, well, wait a minute. He's not ready for the NHL right now at age 18? What's wrong? And that's probably the wrong mindset to have. Like, you shouldn't assume that because you're the first pick at 18 that you would be ready. But it does seem like more often than not, those guys are put in there. And sometimes it hurts their development, to be honest. The Predators have been really reluctant to do that. And, of course, they haven't had the high first-round pick very often. Now, Seth Jones was the fourth pick, and he went right in there. He went right into play from day one. Guys who are lower first-round picks, it's rare that they jump up and show that they're ready. Kevin Fiala was close. They did it with Scott Hartnell. And like I said, they did it with Seth Jones. But other than that, most of them, they're going to try to take a little bit of a longer road. The other part of it is, if you're from Canada, you cannot play in the AHL. Even if it's he's not quite ready for the NHL, but let's put him with the men of the AHL. You can't do that. They have to go back to the junior level. And they've already shown that they're dominating the junior level. So that's an interesting path that the Canadian player has to take. Most of the American players in that will go to college for a year. After a year, they assess. Are they ready to come out? Or no, let's go back to college one more year. You can do it that way. So it is done differently in the NHL. If you're a European, like Kemmel, he played in the Finnish top league against the men, was done with that, and they said, all right, let's have you come over and join Milwaukee. He was allowed to do that. If he were Canadian, it'd be different. So this is helping Kemmel get a chance to jump in there and find out what the AHL is all about, and that is probably puts him on a little faster track.
Right, and Derek, to sort of clarify what Willy is saying about those kids in Canada, you've got the Canadian Hockey League, you've got the CHL that is overseeing a lot of this, you've got the WHL, the QMJHL, and then you've also got the OHL. But there's a lot of HLs basically in Canada, a lot of young kids. Now, an interesting guy that the Predators have in their system is a guy named Nolan Burke. So he's turning 20 this summer. So when you turn 20, you can then be sent to a Milwaukee, because when you reach a certain age, you cannot play in this CHL with all these little subsequent leagues.
In the juniors.
Right, exactly. So these 18-year-olds, like Willy pointed out, the Preds have only had probably 3 people that have been really NHL caliber ready. Leg one, maybe not as much, but they needed him then. But that's typically how it works. And so it's really high praise that Scott Nickel came on and said that he thinks Joakim Kemmel can make an impact quick. He's going to make his case at camp, just like Juuso Parssinen did this year, and then got his chance.
Yeah, and they usually try to slow play it some and not rush. And it's kind of crowded, right? Like you start doing a depth chart of who he would put in there. Who would Kemmel go in over? He's got to be better than those guys. Now, injuries can open up opportunities and things like that. So he's just one of many guys that I know a lot of Predator fans are watching. I'm curious. We're carrying games 1 and 2 of the Admirals series. You're going to hear a great play-by-play announcer and Aaron Sims calling the games for the Admirals. But I'm curious how much interest there is. I don't think I'm going to listen from start to finish, but I'm watching very closely who excels, and I want them to win. I heard Barry Trotz earlier this week saying it's very important. He wants to see this team do well. Long playoff runs, winning is important in the development of good NHL players. So got a lot of familiar names if you watch the Predators down the stretch that are in there. Spencer Stastny, Evangelista, Tomasino, and on down the list. So rooting for the Admirals, seeing what's going on there, and we'll be carrying games 1 and 2 against the Texas Stars, not to be confused with the Dallas.
Right. And the top point getters, Willy, you have Jordan Gross is leading the team in points with 7. Kiefer Sherwood is the top forward out of the entire roster so far.
And Sherwood has always torn up the AHL, so that's another guy that earned an NHL contract for next year, but still trying to win at the AHL level. The other thing, and I haven't looked closely at the names, but it would seem to be a slight advantage, and I don't know how the Stars did it, but you have your spare guys, your reserves, and the Dallas Stars obviously are still right in the middle of the playoff race. They're in a tough dogfight with the Kraken. They won last night. They're up 3-2, but you got what they call the Black Aces, the guys that skate. They're not on the roster per se, but they're ready to go. They're not playing all the time in the AHL. So I don't know how the Stars have done that. If they've got guys with the team that otherwise would be playing for Texas, I don't know. But, the Predators had the luxury of saying, everybody that could go to Milwaukee, load up the wagon. Let's see if we can win this thing. All right, when we come back, we'll get D-Mace's NBA report. Let's see what is going on between the Lakers and the Warriors as that series progresses. This is the game, to me, that they've got to win Are they going to close out Golden State at home, or is it going back to San Francisco for Game 7? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it when we come back here on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5 The Game.
Tonight.
Propelled to the top of the left circle. Shots, he score!
The Milwaukee Admirals open up the second round in the AHL playoffs against the Texas Stars. Follow the future Preds here. Coverage begins at 7 on your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We were made to build our world from scratch. Born with a curiosity that never quits. And wired with what it takes to get the job done. All we need is the right set of tools. Northern Tool and Equipment is a problem solver's paradise. There's nothing we can't find, fix, or figure out together. We're made for this. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Mornings were made for better things than rheumatoid arthritis or RA. Xeljanz tofacitinib is a pill for adults with moderate to severe RA when tumor necrosis factor blockers did not work well or could not be tolerated. Xeljanz can help relieve joint pain, swelling, and help stop further joint damage. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections. Don't start if you have one. Before and during treatment, your doctor should check for infections like TB and do blood tests. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers including lymphoma and lung, blood clots, serious heart-related events, tears in the stomach or intestines, and allergic reactions have happened. People 50 and older with heart disease risk factors have an increased risk of death. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B or C, have flu-like symptoms, are prone to infections, or have ever had a heart attack, stroke, clot, or other heart problems, or swelling of lips, tongue, throat, or hives. Ask your doctor about prescription Xeljanz. Visit Xeljanz.com or call 1-844-XELJANZ.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robbie and Rexroad.
Yeah, you take that. You take that. Take 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say. And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Curry spins away from Schroeder, gets Reeves as his defender. Goes on Reeves. Step back, elbow jumper, up and good. Second time in a row, Curry has settled for the 2 to make it 111-98.
Been hearing a lot of the NBA playoffs here on 102.5 The Game. Last night, Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets moved on. They eliminated KD and the Suns, and it wasn't close. The series was tied at 2. 2 decisive wins for the Nuggets. They are looking good. We'll get back to them in a moment. But in the meantime, the other slot in the West is up for grabs. Who will play the Nuggets in the Western Finals? Will it be the Lakers LeBron, AD, or will it be the defending champions, the Golden State Warriors? So, D-Mase, how you feel? How are you feeling going into game number 6?
I'm feeling pretty good. Well, let's say I will be feeling pretty good once once the game gets a little bit closer and we find out whether AD is playing or not. If many that didn't see the game the other night, AD in the fourth quarter got hit across the temple by Looney, going up for a rebound. And with 6 minutes, left in the fourth quarter, he ended up not finishing the game. And he might have had a slight concussion or something, but he's not in concussion protocol. So hopefully he can play tonight. If he can play tonight, then I think that does boost the Lakers' chances of winning this game. Now, Andre Wiggins might be out for the Golden State Warriors.
An important
that is
complimentary
big.
player for
exactly. That's big. So, but I think if both teams are at full strength, the Lakers haven't lost at home in this playoffs. Golden State doesn't play well away from, their arena. So right now the Lakers are a 3-point favorite in this game. Kerr right now, as we sit, I think he's 8-2 in elimination games, or 7-2 in elimination games. He was 6-2 prior to the other night. They ended up winning, made him 7-2 in elimination games. So, and I'm sure he's looking to build on that record and make it 8-2. But again, it all boils down because, listen, going into games, we know who the superstars are. We know that LeBron's going to get his. He's averaging 25, I think, for the series, somewhere around there. Might be a little bit more, north of the 25. So he's averaging his 25, almost a triple-double. Steph is averaging his plus 25. His assists has gone up the last 2 games. Steph hasn't been the scorer that he usually is. The prior 2 games or the prior 3 games, he's elected to defer a lot. Kerr has put him on the ball where he's the point guard now. So he's deferring. He's getting everybody to collapse on him, and he's deferring, and it's worked for them. At least the last game, it worked for him. So I'm sure they're going to be looking to do that again to try to get open shots for Clay and Poole and Hardaway Jr. They're going to try to get them open baskets. But to me, this game boils down to whether AD shows up or not. And, he has shown up. He, even though he only had 3 points in the second half, he showed up big in the first half with 20. When he's on the floor, when he's not on the floor, they're minus 10, almost 11 points. So he means a lot to this Laker team. We know that we know who LeBron is.
This is one of the things that has come up more in recent years, and it seems like a simple stat, and you kind of wonder why it wasn't talked about in past years, and that is the plus-minus,
exactly.
right?
And I think every sport uses it now. A lot of sports use it now.
And I think you delve into like combinations of players too. It's not just each individual. Though I remember when I was playing like 4 minutes a game for Vanderbilt, and I knew I wasn't going to get many shots, I did kind of keep track. If I had a plus, I'd be like, hey, we were +5 when I'm in the 4 minutes. I gave you good minutes. We were +5.
I got to play again.
I didn't score any of them, but I was out there. I don't know how much I can take credit. Set a couple good screens. But, you could have a game where you score 30 points, but if your team is minus 20 when you're on the floor, you kind of like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Because you're not doing those other little things.
That's right. And that's what you got to find out. Is it you, or is it the combination of players that we had on the court? So these are all the complicated things that, with analytics becoming more and more of a factor, people can start to find the answers to that. I can remember Lionel Hollins, who was an old school, great player back in his day. He was the coach of the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies were very progressive in stats like that. And he didn't really want to he was more of the feel. Like, he was the old school, look, I want to coach. If a guy's hot, I want him in there. I don't need to know all these other things. And they were like, no, if you want to coach our team, you got to marry your looks, your feel with what the numbers are telling us. And there's any number of coaches in a lot of sports that have had to kind of do that. And the ones that evolve stick around, the best of both. So and I have heard a lot just from the X and O's thing, Derek, about what are they doing to try to get AD going, and then what are the Warriors trying to do to guard AD? There's so many game within the game kind of stuff. How do you create the switches? Where do you put him on the court? What kind of sets do you have around him? So when he gets the ball in a certain spot on the court, what's happening? There's a lot of things that go on with that. It's a great chess match if you get into that stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. We've seen the adjustments that, the Lakers have made, trying to get the ball out of before, because I think game one and two, the Golden State Warriors had a different sort of philosophy. It was the philosophy really that they've always used. They use all these picks, get Curry off all of these, pick and rolls or picks, and get him a good shot. Well, what the Lakers started doing, they started doubling Steph, and it made it hard for him. They put Vanderbilt on him and then get another guy. So what they started doing, Golden State, was, well, we're going to make sure the ball gets into Steph's hands. Why? We're going to make him a point guard now. He's going to bring the ball up. Now it's difficult to guard Steph because he's the ball controller now. He controls the floor. Before, it was Draymond Green. Draymond Green would be the guy that sets the offense and kind of go from there. Well, when the Lakers made their adjustment, Steve Kerr had to make another adjustment to get the ball automatically into Steph's hands. And it worked. And then the Lakers had to make another adjustment. So this series has been an adjustment by the coaches. And whoever makes, it seems like, sort of like hockey, whoever has the last change of lines, usually it's sort of
that dictates the matchups.
Exactly.
And then everybody's got to adjust.
Exactly. And that's what it's been like from game to game with the Lakers in Golden State. It's like, okay, whoever had the last adjustment, the next game, we will go from there and kind of, play ball that way. But ultimately, I know LeBron's going to get his points. I know Steph's going to get his points. If you've been watching this series, if AD has a good game, if AD is dominating, if AD, solidifies himself as a force in that game, the Lakers are winning. They're not losing. Everybody understands that. That's why Golden State tries to make it so hard. That's why they've made a conservative effort. If you listen to Golden State, they're bumping him and pushing him, making it hard for him to get the ball, trying to push him out of that low blocks. If the Lakers are not getting into the blocks and getting fouls, it works in Golden State's favor. Look at the games the Lakers have won and look at their foul shooting. It's not a mistake why, if the Lakers get the ball into the paint to AD, they're going to win the games because either he's going to make the shot or he's going to get fouled. Plain and simple. No matter what they do on the outside, if the Lakers are going in the free throw line 25, 30 times a game, Lakers are winning because they're establishing a presence inside the paint with AD.
No question. Also, last night, the Celtics win. There's a good note that I got sent from my buddy Bill Trocchi with the Sporting News. Now, think about how crazy this sounds.
Philly blew one. Philly blew that.
They missed a big chance. But the Celtics winning on the road is their thing. The last 2 years in the playoffs, home record 9-9, road record 12-6. They've been a better road team. Now, that's crazy when you think of the tradition of, you just can't win in the Boston Garden. Nobody's beaten Larry Bird and Robert Parrish.
It's not the old parquet, man. It's not the old parquet floor.
Somehow teams have figured out easier how to win on the road. It's pretty amazing. Now, it's not for granted that a team pulls an upset on the road anymore.
That's been
a lot of sports. Yeah, it's like the NHL too.
But that's been Golden State's demise. They haven't been able to win away from their arena.
So that's a big one tonight. Yeah. So that sets the stage. When we come back, we'll let you know our schedule because we've got a lot of games going on our stations, 102.5 and 94.9. We'll get into that, and we'll wrap things up. Stay tuned. It's been a fun Friday here on the show, 102.5 The Game. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
when it comes to Nashville sports.
Locking up Jeffrey Simmons, clearly that was a priority for them.
He knows his stuff.
A little bit good, a little bit bad.
And knows how to push the right buttons.
He's coming off an ACL tear, and he's 25 years old, so you cannot ignore that.
Join Outkick's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company. Withrow.
What I hate more than anything is people that are phony and not true to themselves.
Is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willy Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hey y'all, it's Caroline Fenton, and I want to tell you about my friends over at 312 Pizza Company. 312 Pizza is my favorite place in town. It's family owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style, always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesday and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 or head to 312pizzaco.com to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with one interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman. Weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We are back. Final segment. When you hear this song, that means we're coming down the stretch here of another show here on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. We told you we were going to tell you this going into the break here. We were talking a little NBA in the last segment. So this is what we got tonight. Golden State takes on the Lakers at 9 Central. So what we've got is the Admirals game against the
Texas Stars.
The Texas Stars. There's the Dallas Texans from the AFL way back. That became the Oilers, which became the Titans. So that's significant there. So, yeah, Texas Stars, round 2 of the AHL playoffs against our Milwaukee Admirals. We'll have that on 102.5 The Game. After that, you can hear Game 6. Derek's Lakers against Steph Curry and the Warriors. That's on 102.5. On 94.9, the Sounds keep going, and that is a series that continues against the Gwinnett Stripers, the AAA team, of course, of the Braves. They will wrap up the series this weekend on Saturday at 6:35, Sunday at 2:05, tonight also 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan. So we got a lot going on. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan is presented by 312 Pizza, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Now, Derek, I keep looking everywhere I turn. I don't care if I go to ESPN.com, NFL, Twitter. The Titans video of the schedule reveal pops up. It just keeps popping up.
Yeah.
We're almost 24 full hours since the unveiling of that. It's the best thing they've done. I can't believe it's amazing.
Because it's simple.
I want to meet Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, because it's simple, but it's funny.
Who is Lightning McQueen?
You don't know who Lightning McQueen is?
Give me the background.
Have you not seen any Disney movies?
Exactly.
What movies?
It's from Cars.
Yeah, Lightning McQueen. The car, the fast car.
That one
Come
slipped through the
on.
cracks.
Yeah,
Willy.
Larry the
I don't
Cable
know that
Guy.
movie very well. I admit it.
Wow.
I said
Your kids are in my kids' era.
Yes, I know.
So you should have seen
Yeah, I'll
it.
tell you what happened. I tell you what happened with cars. This is what happened to me. I remember my daughter getting in the car with some buddies to go see that movie when she was little, but I wasn't the guy. Usually I was the guy saying,
Taking
come on,
her.
guys, come on, hop in the car. We're going to the movies. And I know a lot of those movies, but I miss Lightning McQueen.
Yeah,
Okay.
Larry the Cable Guy is his best friend in the movie.
Come on, man.
Toe Miter.
Hey,
I missed out. I got to go back and watch Cars now.
I got one for you again here.
Derek, I have some jokes too. So
I got one for you. Here
I'll
we
let
go.
you
My
first.
dad
We're going
joke.
to end with a bang. They both
right.
got it. Little competition. Best dad joke of the day.
Best dad joke. Here's a dad joke.
I have
for
two,
you.
Derek.
Okay. What do you call Santa when he's frozen?
What do you call Santa when he's frozen? You figure now in the North Pole, there's a lot of opportunities to get frozen.
Yeah, you might be right.
Okay, so what do you call him?
Santa Paws.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Oh, I love
I'm
that
not
one.
sure.
I love that one. Oh, man. What you got, Nick?
All right,
What you got, Nick?
Chase is
Chase
harassing
very
me for not
appalled that
seeing.
Willie
I
doesn't
know,
know
but I didn't
about
see
cars.
I
But
didn't see
Exactly.
Cars.
All right.
Like,
Willie,
come on, Willie.
Willie and
I love the
okay.
Cars music. You know,
Oh,
you
my
may think,
goodness.
and,
Get out of here, Willie.
Yeah,
Rick
you might think
Ocasek.
I'm foolish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Derek.
Uh-huh.
Rest in peace, boiling water. You'll be missed.
Okay. All right. This is getting a little out of control.
Oh, my
with
goodness.
The Dad Joke Friday, and it's taking on a life of its own. We've had a lot of people text the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, their dad jokes today. So I'm trying to figure out what is the best one we've heard today. What do you think is the best
beside
stuff?
mine, I like the gummy bear one.
That one's
the teddy
dumb.
bear with no
Hey,
teeth.
Derek, my last one is kind of in that category. Are you ready? What would bears be? What would bears be without bees?
Bearless.
Ears.
I don't think we should have ended with that one.
I got another one.
Okay, we
got
got to end
another
with
one.
something
Okay.
better than that.
All right, here we go.
Ears.
What's the difference between coffee and your opinion?
Coffee, in my opinion.
Are they both dark?
It could be, yeah. But that's not the question. That's not the answer.
Okay.
The answer is I asked for coffee. I don't ask for your opinion. Oh, yeah. Zanies, 2025. I'm their headliner. Come see me. Come see me. Come see me.
Okay.
Willie, I've been on the roll,
No,
man.
I think you've been very good.
Been on the roll.
You've been very good. This has got potential.
I
My
think
concern
I
is,
think
can
it
we
take
sustain
off.
it? Can we sustain it every week?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah. I mean, like, anybody can come up from the minors and get a couple of base hits, but can you do it every night? Can you stay in the lineup? Can you stay
I'm a walking
productive?
hit machine, man.
Okay.
Walking hit machine.
So next Friday, we got more.
That was a good one. I'm a walking hit machine. 2025, I'm there.
Your bullet has nothing on your jokes.
Boom.
All right, you guys, what do you think? Can the Knicks stay alive tonight in Miami? Yes or no? Are we seeing a Game 7 at Madison Square Garden?
Nah.
I'm here for it if it happens. That'd be nice.
Hemi Buckets is going to end it this week, tonight.
It's over.
It's
You
over.
say the Heat take
will
it.
take it, yes.
All right, I know you like the Lakers.
Mhm.
All right, Nick, on the hockey side, is this the end of the Maple Leafs at home? Can you picture the depression, the sadness, the frustration, people throwing things if the Leafs lose on home ice tonight? They were down 3-0. They won Game 4.
Right.
If they win this game, it's all of a sudden, hey, now, might be back in
I
this
don't
thing.
know. It would be the most Leafs thing possible for them to go home and then lose in Game 5. So,
That's
I
true.
mean, that makes a whole lot of sense. But I tell you what, I think it's going to be a close game. I do think Toronto forces a Game 6. I don't think it's going to be by 2 goals. I think it'll be a very eerie, similar game to what we just saw the other night.
And then you have the final game, Edmonton and Vegas, tied 2 games apiece. Each team has a very important defenseman, their highest paid defenseman, out, suspended for different reasons. Darnell Nurse is suspended, and Alex Pietrangelo is suspended for different reasons. And Pietrangelo was lucky only to get 1 game, really, with the way he just did a total karate chop.
I saw this stat on NHL Network earlier. I believe the Oilers are the top defensive I think it's the top defensive scoring unit in the playoffs so far. If not first, then they're at least second.
Yeah, just by simply passing the puck to Draisaitl, you're going to get an assist.
Yeah,
I think I could get a few assists playing for that team. Just pass it to Leon. Pass it to Connor. Assist.
That's like being out there with LeBron James
just
and
get
Steph
it to
Curry.
him. Just get it to him.
And let him shoot. Let him shoot. Man, listen. Last night, had a long night, but, finally got to sleep. Man, I slept like a log last night, man. So much so, I woke up in the fireplace.
You're really going to end a Friday show with that one?
Best one.
Come on. Y'all got to love that one.
Y'all got to love. I slept like a log, woke up in the fireplace. Come on, man. You got to love that one.
You made it sound like a personal problem.
Man.
I saw the way you were trying to sneak that in there, too. I saw you were trying to sneak it in there.
What time did a man go to the dentist? What time did the man go to the dentist? Anybody know?
As soon as his tooth cracked. I don't know.
Tooth hurty. All right, I'm done. I'm done. Y'all know where to find me in 2025. Y'all know where to find me. Okay?
Derek, I think you could sell out Nissan Stadium.
Absolutely. We're going to do that. And I mean the new stadium, not this one. I can sell out the new one that they're going to be building.
So you're really bougie.
Yeah.
The bougie
stadium? I'm moving up in the world, man.
The bougie stadium and the bougie cinnamon candy.
Exactly.
All right, you guys have a great weekend. Jared is coming up, Stillman and Company. Everybody enjoy the games this weekend. We'll see you on Monday here on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Be loved and love on somebody. Peace.
Have a great day, guys. Enjoy the sunshine.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many.